Yeah, so my people, I'm back and I'm live again. Um, I just want to say thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you guys for thanks to my subscribers and future subscribers. And I wanted to say thanks to the Triune God for giving us mercy and life, so that we can be here to dialogue and talk. I hope that a sister and another brother will join me here if they see that I'm live. It's difficult to invite them because I don't have access to them otherwise. But I want to say thank all praises to the Triune God for giving us wisdom to decipher things and to see the stupidity of Islam. So I have a discussion with Kenny Bomer about women rights in Islam. And no, in today's era, there is no fool around here. If you want to be a fool, it's because you choose to be a fool. So um, the question I ask is, what is the purpose of spanking a child? What is the purpose of you spanking your child? Because in all over the world, people spank their child. Some people don't, but all over the world, we know. I got spanking when I was a child, and so what was the purpose of my father and my mother spanking me? It's a form of conditioning. And when anybody who know anything about psychology, there is positive conditioning, and then there is negative conditioning. And there is negative punishment, and there is positive punishment. So beating a child or spanking a child is negative punishment. So when we look at the Quran, if you're looking at the Quran, and this is why we say uh, the Muslims, they actually don't believe in their God, and that's why you find out that they have to change everything that their God says in order to make it seems as if they try to match their God with today's era. They because they say the Quran is the eternal word of Allah. So in order to make it sound like it can apply to today's day, they will do anything, just ignore the Quran totally and go off into anywhere trying to dilute the stupidity of the Quran. You know, in the discussion with Kenny Boomer, one of the things that you will see, that you know that the Quran is a stupid book and it make no sense at all. And you know that it did not come from any intelligent source per se. When I say to say that God should be the most intelligent source. And if you're talking about how to treat mankind, and then this book is telling you that one of the reasons that a man is above a woman is because the man take care of the woman with his wealth and his property. He uses property to support the woman. So that's one reason that the man is above the woman. But in a society where women are doing so good, and women have, a lot of these women have more money than their husband, how does the stupid Quran apply? So this Muslim called Mustafa Mohammed is asking, strike them how? How does your Quran say to strike them? See, that's the problem that Islam have. And this is why you know that Islam is a stupid religion. Because what? The Quran speaks, and then men come 200 years later and telling you that this is what it means. The Hadith came 200 years later and it's telling you this is what the Quran means. 200 and plus years later, after the Quran speak, the hadith came, and the hadith is telling you this is what the Quran means. So if the Quran said to strike the woman, that means you strike the woman. Because what? What is the reason for corporal punishment? What is the reason for corporal punishment? A corporal punishment, the biggest reason is to deter the act, of people committing crime. So if the Quran is telling you that if you fear your woman would be rebellious, to the first thing to do is to talk to them. What is that? That is a positive way of conditioning a person. When you talk to them is a positive way of conditioning the person. Then the second thing you do is to stop sleeping with the woman. Guess what? That's then a negative way of conditioning a person, because you're taking away something from the person. Then the next thing is to beat the person. According to these Muslims, the Abdul from Texas, Kenny Bomer, take a little piece of stick like this and say, this is what you should hit the woman with. He said the stick could be longer, but I don't know how strong that stick is, but even this pen can hurt a woman. If you hit a woman with this pen in certain places, this can hurt a woman. So at the end of the day, the discussion was, does a man and woman have equal rights in Islam? Where is it written in the Quran that a woman can beat her husband? Nowhere in the Quran that a woman can beat her husband, whether it is with a pen or anything. The Quran doesn't tell you what you beat the woman with. Hundreds of years later, and then this guy here is going to say, he means beat them lightly. There is nowhere in the Quran, the real Arabic of the Quran, that says anything about lightly. Nowhere that says anything about lightly. This is something that comes up over 200 years after Muhammad. 200 to 300 years after Muhammad, this thing come up, or beat them lightly. Because what we realize that they realize that this God is stupid. So they have to modify the God in order to make it look like this God makes sense. Because in the first place, when you look at the what the Quran is saying, then you know that this God make no sense. He says, and we look at Surah 4, verse 34. It says, men are in charge of women because Allah had made the one of them to excel the other. And because they spend of their property for the support of women. So what about the woman who make more money than the man? So this part is cut out because what? You're not superior to the woman if the woman is making more money than you. So you see that this God make no sense. He's not a God that extend into our era where women are making way more money. Most women in America right now, if you look at the average, if you go and look at women and men in household and across America, you find that legally most women are making more money than men. Women are going to school more than men are going to school. Women even in Jamaica, women are making more money because they are going to school. They are doing things that men are not doing. But you're gonna have a God telling you, like, one of the reasons the man is superior to the woman is because the man spend her money on the woman. What about today's era? So you find out that the Quran God is a nobody, a God that doesn't think. So what is this God? And then the Quran goes on to say, so good women are the obedient. So a good woman is the one that is obedient. and obedient in what regard? Guarding in secret that which Allah has gathered, guarded. As for those whom you fear rebellion, admonish them and banish them to beds apart. So you admonish them and banish them to beds apart. So there is not no really steps in that part. So you admonish them, then you don't sleep with them. And the next step, and scourge them. So according to that translation, which is Pictal. So, but if you go to say Sahih International, it says, but those wives of whom you fear arrogance first, and first is in bracket. So that's not from the God. First is in bracket. So that's not even from the God. When you have something in parentheses, that means it is something that the translator add to it. And then advise them. It's first advise them. And notice this. Then if they persist, that's also in bracket. Forsake them in bed. Finally, strike them. That is Sahih International. So you can beat your wife. But what you find, these Abduls are coming up and doing, you can't leave a mark on her. You can't, it shouldn't hurt. You're gonna hear this Muslim Imam actually say it should not hurt. So what's the purpose of beating the woman if it doesn't hurt? You can condition a person if you are tapping them. And this is how you condition somebody. So you see, somebody is lying. Somebody is lying. You cannot condition anyone at all by God bless you too, my brother. You cannot condition anyone at all by tapping them on the shoulder. If you're talking about conditioning by beating, you cannot condition no one like this. You can't condition nobody like this. So that's a lie. So you see, what we are seeing now is that modern time caught up on Islam, and Islam have to change their rhetoric. So it's no longer what Allah says. Now, guess what it is? It is what it is what the scholars says. It is no longer what Allah says, but what the scholar says. So the God of Islam is worthless. It is only what the scholar says. This is how ridiculous Islam is. The God of Islam is totally worthless. Who you follow now is the scholar. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna let you listen to Muhammad Ijab. How Muhammad Ijab actually say it's defense. The man is defending himself against the woman. This is how ridiculous Islam is, that to the point where the Quran is telling you straightforwardly that if you fear rebellion from your woman, admonish them. You fear rebellion, admonish them and banish them to beds apart and scourge them. So whether it is step by step, let's read another translation that so just to make. So if you fear rebellion from the woman, and as for those women whose ill will you have reason to fear, you have reason to fear. Admonish them first. That's also in parentheses. Then leave them alone in bed. Then beat them. This is Muhammad Assad. And you're gonna listen to and hear what Muhammad Ijab says. Muhammad Ijab is going to behave as if the man, Allah is telling the man to defend themselves from the woman. You will see this. So listen to Muhammad Ijab, what he says. So listen what Muhammad Ijab says. And you will see the nonsense of Islam. So this man now turn it as if the woman is the aggressive one and trying to fight the man or trying to do something, and then the man is defending himself.
This is telling how a man or a husband how to defend himself against his wife.
How to defend himself against his wife. This is what he reads. How to defend himself against his wife. Wow.
Because the thing is, the nature of man is that a man is prone to, in a more biological, predetermined way, to a kind of aggressive behavior. So this Quranic injunction, these 3 steps, warn, abstain from sexual intercourse, and then you can apply daraba, which we can explain later on, or I've already explained in a couple of videos of mine, which maybe I don't want to descope this discussion. Then you can do this, right? So someone might argue that, how comes it's not mentioned, this word is not mentioned in relation to women? I would say actually it is mentioned in relation to women, the same word. In chapter 4, I think verse 28, 128, 126 or 128, it says, وإن امرأة خافت من بعلها نشوزا أو إعراضا فلا جناح عليهما أن يصلح بينهما صلحا وصلح خير. It says that if a woman fears from her husband nushuz or i'rad. I'rad means being neglected. So there's 2 things. Whereas in the verse in 434, there's only one thing that was mentioned, which was nushuz, which was rebellion. Here there are 2 things that are mentioned. Then she can start a reconciliation with her husband, and she can start a reconciliation, and she actually has a right at any point to go to a qadi. She has a right to or a judge. If there's actually any damage done to her, she can get a divorce instantaneously.
Watch this. Now let's go to the Quran. He gave a verse. Did he say 128? Where 4 did he say Quran 4 128? So let's see what Quran 4 128 says. Because this guy So let's see what Quran 4 128 says. Okay, so here it is. And if a woman fear her husband contempt or evasion, then there is no sin upon them if they make term of settlement between them, and settlement is best. And do you see how stupid this Muhammad Ijab is? One is telling the man that he can beat the woman, and another one is saying that, oh, you could make a settlement. And he said, yes, he's gonna say, if you listen to Muhammad Ijab, what he says, you see how deceptive these people are. He says, is this something similar for the woman or something like that? Listen.
To go to a qadi, she has a right to rebellion. Here there are 2 things that are mentioned. Then she can start a reconciliation with her husband, and she can start a reconciliation, and she actually has a right at any point to go to a qadi. Whereas in the verse in 434, there's only one thing that was mentioned, which was nushuz, which was rebellion. Here there are 2 things that are mentioned. Then she can start a reconciliation with her husband, and she can start a reconciliation, and she actually has a right at any point to go to a qadi. She has a right to or a judge. If there's actually any damage done to her, she can get a divorce instantaneously.
Wow. If any damage done to her, she can get so the Quran is telling you beat the woman, and then if any damage done to her, she can get a divorce. Do you see? This is the, according to him, the Quran is telling you you can beat your wife, and if any damage done to her, she can get a divorce. But listen what the Quran verse says. And if a woman fears from her husband contempt or evasion, there is no sin upon them if they make terms of settlement between them. And settlement is best. And present in human soul is stinginess. But if you do good and fear Allah, then indeed Allah is ever and with what you do acquainted. So you see, at the end of the day, there is nothing about the woman can beat the man. So where is the equality? There is no equality. There is no equality. And there is no equality. This is telling you that if you feel contempt or evasion, then you can get a divorce as some form of settlement. But if you feel contempt with a woman, you could beat her. And then he turned it into self-defense. The verse said nothing about self-defense. Rebellion. A rebellion doesn't have to be the woman trying to fight you. A rebellion doesn't mean that the woman tried to fight you or anything. It doesn't have to mean that. So any rebellion at all you feel from your woman, you can beat her up, and the Quran does not give any restriction on how to beat the woman. It does not. Later you have all these people who realize that this is not fit for any society at all. So they come up with all kind of stuff. Oh, the scholars say this, the scholars say this, and one of them will say, oh, Ibn Ibas say this. But according to Aisha, Ibn Ibas is a liar, because according to narrative, Ibn Ibas says Muhammad saw Allah, and then Aisha came later and said, no, whoever said that he saw Allah is a liar. So at the end of the day, if you listen to what the Quran says, Sahih International says so righteous women are devotedly obedient. So righteous women are devotedly obedient to their husband. That's what he said. Guarding in the husband absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives of whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. It's no little tap on our shoulder. Because what? If you tap a woman on the shoulder, what is that? Look at Kenny Bomer. Let's go to Kenny Bomer, the Texas Abdul, and see how naive this guy is. So we're gonna share this with Kenny Bomer, the Texas Abdul, and we'll show you how naive this guy is. So listen to this guy. You know that this guy make no sense whatsoever. So here, listen to him, and you will see that this guy made no sense whatsoever.
So I'm going to ask you just a quick question, Olga Yates. Do you know the grading on that hadith?
So the first thing he do, I show him a hadith where Aisha narrated a hadith that shows that Muhammad allowed this man to beat his wife until she was black and blue, and he got away with it. So I show him the hadith, and so let me show you what Aisha says. So Aisha said that the lady came wearing a green veil and complained of to her, Aisha, of her husband and show her a green spot on her skin caused by beating. So Aisha said it's caused by beating. It was the habit of the ladies to support each other. So when Allah Apostle came, Aisha said, I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing women. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. So the man beat up his wife. The man beat his wife, and her skin is greener than her clothes. And as I explained before, green skin showed that she was beat up in the past, and it's healing. And when bruises are healing, it become green when it's old. Slightly green, slightly yellow. So you could say yellow or green, yellowish green. So and what did Muhammad do? Did Muhammad tell the man not to beat his wife? No, Muhammad did not tell the man not to beat his wife. What Muhammad do? Muhammad used a monkey court. Muhammad asked him why this was going on, and the woman said, "By Allah, I have not done wrong to him, but he is impotent. That means he cannot have erection, and he is useless to me as this." Holding and showing the fringe of her garment. So she said, she is useless like the thread on my garment. Abu Rahman said, by Allah, O Allah, apostle, O Allah's apostle, she told a lie. So the lady gave her statement. The man said it's a lie. Who knows if it's a lie? Only God Almighty knows if it's a lie. I am very strong. So he said he's very strong. Strength don't have anything to do with impotence. And I can satisfy her, but she is disobedient and want to go back to Raphia, so her ex-husband. Allah Apostle said to her, if this is your intention, then know that this is unlawful for you to remarry Rafi unless Abu Rahman had sexual intercourse with you. So you see how stupid Muhammad was. A woman was married to a man, and she leave the man, she divorced the man and go and marry to another man. And she said this man cannot please her because he is sexually not right. But, you know, if she want to go back to her ex-husband, there's no indication that this woman want to go back to her ex-husband except for the man saying so. But if she want to go back to her ex-husband, Muhammad is telling her, the only way you can go back to your ex-husband is if this man have sex with you. Wow. So look, that's a monkey court. And then the prophet saw two boys with Abu Rahman and asked him, are these your son? And that Abu Rahman said, yes. The prophet says, you claim that. The prophet said, you claim what you claim, that he is impotent. But by Allah, these boys resemble him as a crow resemble a crow. What does that have to do with him being impotent at this point? The kids are already born, and born from a different woman, a different wife that he had before. So what does that have to do with him being impotent at this very point where the judgment is being? And this is Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 7, book 72, number 715. So what Kenny Bomer is trying to do now is to say the hadith is not authentic. But this hadith, not because it's from Sahih Bukhari, this hadith is actually authentic. I could show you another Muslim defending Muhammad's decision. So while Kenny Bomer is saying that the hadith is not authentic, we have other people defending the hadith. So you see that Kenny Bomer, you can't trust that guy. That guy is a liar. You can't trust him. So this guy asks a question: can you explain Sahih al-Bukhari 58:25 and why she was beaten? But why was she beaten so harshly? Aisha Ra even pointed out her bruise was as green as her veil. So here is one Muslim giving a response, actually defending Muhammad. So he's defending Muhammad. He highlighted she told a lie because the man said she told a lie. He highlighted that. If that is your intention, then know that this is unlawful for you to remarry Rafi unless Abu Rahman had sexual intercourse. He highlighted that. And the reason he highlighted that, he wanted to say that the woman was lying. But there is no indication that this woman was lying. This is a Muslim, so let me share this with you guys so you guys could see this, because here is a Muslim defending the hadith. So the hadith is authentic as the hadith stated. But we're gonna see where this guy is saying that the hadith is not authentic, but we're gonna show you that Muslims are defending the hadith. That means the hadith is authentic, as it says Sahih, and the chain of narration is unbroken. So we know that it's authentic. So here it is. Here is this Muslim defending it. Let me make sure. So here it is, Muslim defending it. According to Islam law, when a woman divorce, she cannot reunite with her ex-husband unless the second marriage fail of legitimate reason or she become a widow. So he is defending this. The hadith was regarding a woman that tried to get back to her ex-husband. No one knows if she tried to get back to her ex-husband, according to the man. So there is no proof that this woman tried to go back to her ex-husband, and only the verbalization of the man. So right there, it shows that women have less right than a man, because a woman, there was no proof that this man, what he say is true. She tried to find a loophole. Here is this guy saying that the woman tried to find a loophole when the hadith did not say that. The hadith did not say she tried to find a loophole. The man make an accusation. She make an accusation. Muhammad choose his side over the woman's side, because that's how it has always been in Islam. By getting married to another man, using him as an excuse to she say she got married and wanted to divorce him immediately without consummating their marriage. Do you see that? So this guy is saying, this Muslim is saying that the woman wanted to divorce him immediately without consummating the marriage. But who told you that the woman did not try to consummate the marriage, and as she say, is impotent? So you see, they jump on the woman's side because of Muhammad's monkey court. I know why she was beaten, but why was the beaten so harshly? So he said, I know why she was beaten. So you see, the Muslims say, I know why she was beaten. Aisha Ra even pointed out her bruise was as green as her veil. So you see, beating a woman. He know why she was beaten. So he was, I'm tapping you on the shoulder. I'm tapping on you. I'm not impotent. You can't go back to your ex-husband. I'm not impotent. No, Kenny Bomer is a donkey. You can't, that's straight up. Defending stupidity. Is the hadith authentic? Yes, the hadith is authentic. The hadith is authentic. And you're going to hear him quote hadith that is Hassan. while and even the woman that came on quote an hadith that is a son. And when a hadith is a son, that means there is an interruption in the chain. An interruption in the chain, or someone in the chain is unreliable. So at the end of the day, someone in the chain have some memory problem or something problem or some problem. But most of the time it's an interruption in the chain. Well, you see them quoting this hadith saying, the prophet says, who the best among you is the one who loves his wife, or something similar. But what we know, if the Quran is telling you you can beat your wife, beating your wife is love. If the Quran is telling you you can beat your wife, then beating your wife is considered love, because that's the Quran. Are you want to say Allah is a God of hatred? Is that what you want to say? That Allah is a God of hatred? So let's continue to listen to Kenny Bomer. So we show that there's Muslims, and it's several Muslims on this thread defending the hadith. Several, not only one Muslim on there defending the hadith. Here is another one. Rizwan Abdullah Rahman. She clearly lied. So you see, they believe in this hadith. She clearly lied. No, it didn't say that she clearly lied. That's a lie. The children, not because the children weren't from her, and the children was from a previous marriage. She just got married to him. So how is it that she lied? The first accusation, physically armed, is likely to be self. Wow. Do you see this? This is how these Muslims are, man. She clearly lied on the second accusation because Abdurrahman had 2 children. What does that have to do with being impotent? You could have your kids first and then become impotent later. What does that have to do? How many people have children, then later they become impotent? That doesn't make no sense. Who look like him? So what does that have to do with anything? So in all likelihood, the first accusation, physical harm, is likely to be self-inflicted. Do you see the mind of these Muslims? Do you see the mind of these Muslims? She self-inflict her wound. The man, but see how dumb this Muslim Abdurrahman is. The woman, the man didn't deny beating her. The man did not deny beating the woman. The man did not deny beating the woman, and Muhammad never tell the man not to beat the woman. Do you see? So at the end of the day, what are you seeing? Kenny Bomer is throwing his Quran under the bus, and then later, when he failed, he tried to throw the hadith under the bus. Because that's what he is. You know, a cover-up artist, covering up for Islam. Kenny Bomer is a cover-up artist, covering up for Islam. But let me show you another. Let me show you something else. What this Muslim man says. I think he's a sheikh. Listen to what he says.
تخيل يا دكتور ان المرأة الأوروبية في الوقت الحاضر بتنشد الرجل القوام. انا يعني هدي المشاهدين سريعا كده بعض احصائيات سريعه عن هذا الامر. اتفضل. 90% من نساء بريطانيا.
He said 90% of British women do not want to marry a weak man. But do 90% of British women want to be beaten? Do you see that stuff, man? This is the mindset of Islam. 90% of British women do not want to marry a weak man. But the question is does 90% of British women want to be beaten by a strong man? Quote unquote. A weak man beat a woman. A weak man beat a woman. You're in your weakness, you beat your wife. and certain people know who that we are talking about. There's an imam who beat his wife. He know who we're talking about. So look what goes on here.
ما بيحبوش يتزوجوا من الرجل الضعيف اللي أول ما تحصل
Who sit down and cry the moment there is a problem. So 90% of British women don't want a man who sit down and cry when there is a problem. What kind of problem? Do you see how stupid this is? You know, what's wrong with a man crying? What kind of problem we are talking about? What kind of problem? You're talking about beating your wife, and listen to this guy talking about. 90% of British women don't want a man who sit down and cry the moment there is a problem. It depends on what the problem is. A man is just a human being.
المشكلة أو أي مشكلة يقعد يعيط يقول لك لا ده الراجل.
They say no, such a man looks more like a woman. Oh wow. So a woman sit down and cry when there is a problem. Do you see that? Muslim thought, man. A Muslim thought they want a manly man. Muslims thought women are equal, but see the Muslim mindset. A man should, a real man should not sit down and cry, but a woman when there's a problem. But when there's a problem, a woman sit down and cry. Wow. Women are not the one getting up and solve the problem. They sit down and cry. Wow. They say such a man looks more like a woman. Who is he quoting? No, that's your mindset.
ده عامل شكل حريم. احنا عاوزين راجل. قضية الضرب دي
wife beating is a serious accusation level against Islam.
خطيرة جدا.
نعم.
واحدة معانا مولانا.
أقول إن الله
Allah honor wife by instating the punishment of beating. Listen to this Muslim sheikh. He said Allah honor wives by instating the punishment of beating. So notice what the title says. Muslim women are lucky to be beaten. So Allah honor wives by instating the punishment of beating. Wow.
كرم المرأة بهذه العقوبة عقوبة الضرب. كيف؟
كرمها بالضرب.
اي والله
مش معقول.
كيف؟
Honor them with beating. So this guy is surprised. Honor them with beating. How is this possible? Listen to this.
قال نبينا صلى الله عليه وعلى آله.
So the prophet said, don't beat them in the face. Do not make them ugly. Wow. Beat them in their body, but don't beat them in their face. What's this?
وسلم ولا تضرب الوجه
الله
ولا تقبح. شوف كرمها.
See how she's honored? Man, we have to bring out the donkey for this, man. We have to bring out the donkey because this is a donkey, man. This is donkey-ness. We have to bring out the donkey. We can't allow this to continue without the donkey. The donkey got to bring out, man. So here we go. When you see this kind of stuff, man, you have to bring out the donkey. So a woman is honored when she's been beaten. Wow. What a primitive world they're living in. So let's let the donkey talk to this guy for a minute, then we get back to this nonsense of this guy. Wow, man. A woman is honored. So this one is for the God of Islam. And then this one This one is for the sheikh. A woman is honored when she been beaten, man. Oh wow. Where do you get these people from? Do you see? A woman is honored when she's been beaten. Where they get these people from? Naive, man. Wow, man. This is Islam for you. And see how they try to cover. You're going to see how they try to paint the monkey to make the monkey look like a prince. This is how Islam is. Painting monkeys. Islam is a religion of painting monkeys. To make it look like it's sensible. Craziness. So here we go back to Kenny Bomer. And then we're going to go back to that video in a minute.
Yes, it's Sahih.
Okay, do you realize that not all Sahih hadith are actually reliable? Did you?
Then look how crazy he is. He's going to ask me, what is the ruling or something like that? What is the grade? I told him Sahih, not because it's called Sahih al-Bukhari. I'm telling him the grade, that the grade is Sahih. And guess what? Guess what he's going to say? He's going to stammer and then go on to something else. Because this guy is he's a deceiver. He's very deceptive.
Did you realize that?
That's the game you're going to play here.
No. I'm asking you a question. Do you realize that
Yes,
just because it's Sahih doesn't mean that the chain is reliable? Do you realize
the
that?
chain is reliable.
Okay, but do you know what the grading is on that? Is it again, just because it's Sahih, that means that the
Do
narrative.
you see how stupid he is? What is the grading? Is it he can come out and say, what is the grading? The grading is Sahih. The grading is Sahih.
Narrator of that hadith.
This grading is
hold on. The
and
narrator,
you don't want to talk.
the one who's giving that hadith is a reliable source. That's what it means. But it could be
What you
Hassan.
need to do
It could
is
be
to prove-
Hassan. Don't interrupt me.
And what the donkey need to do is to prove that that it is it is not Sahih. Since he bringing up the allegation against this hadith that it is not Sahih, he need to prove that it is not Sahih. And I'm telling him that it is Sahih. The grade is Sahih. But guess what? He would not listen. He don't want to listen. He want to just keep his rambling and his ranting. And then, if you notice, he's going to talk about bantering. But this is what you call bantering. A person could talk, and they talk a little high pitch and they're louder than the other person. That doesn't mean that they're bantering. This is bantering, senseless stuff. Senseless, that doesn't even make no sense. And when I said to him, I said, go ahead and prove that it is not Sahih. That's what I want to say to him. Go ahead and prove. Hold on, don't interrupt me.
Don't interrupt me. I'm trying to
You're
teach you a
talking to me.
lesson. I'm
You're
trying to
talking to
teach
me.
you a lesson today.
Look who is trying to teach me a lesson. A donkey trying to teach a man a lesson. Look who is trying to teach me a lesson. Can you imagine this guy saying he tried to teach me a lesson? He tried to teach me a lesson, but he don't want to hear that the hadith is Sahih. And look now, who teach another, who get the lesson, who been taught. Listen what he asked me the question. And when I tell him that it is Sahih, listen what he says.
And don't interrupt me. I'm trying to make a point to you. Again, because it's Sahih doesn't mean that the hadith has a strong chains of narration. What it means is the source of that hadith is a reliable source. Okay, meaning that the one who, if it's,
and he's lying. Sahih al-Bukhari is reliable. Sahih al-Bukhari is a reliable source. But when it's graded Sahih, that means it is the chain of narration is reliable. That's what that means. When it's graded Sahih, that means the chain of narration is reliable. And look what he's going to ask me, what grade it is. And when I answer him and tell him what grade it is, look what he do.
Sahih Bukhari, then obviously Bukhari is a reliable collector of the hadith. That's what it's implying. The Sahih Bukhari is a reliable.
We don't care if it is Sahih Bukhari or if it is Sunan and Nasai or if it's Abu Dawud. The grade is Sahih.
A reliable source for hadith. Now, within those Sahih hadith, some of those hadith are da'if, some are what is this going on here? Okay, some are let me see what's.
Well, you know what? The clock is telling him that he's a thief. That's what the clock is telling him. Because he should be, when he's speaking, if I can't speak, he should be on the clock. But they're showing him that he's a liar and an unfair person. But this is all he decided to do. Like, you talk for 3 minutes, I talk for 3 minutes, but look at him. And later he's gonna change the time, and he still continue to talk after he talked for what, over a minute. So at the end of the day, he give himself the more time to make more points, but still not making anything at the end of the day. Because what? It is Sahih. And that's why you could go to YouTube, find videos of people explaining it. You could go to anywhere and find all kind of people explaining that this man, but blaming the woman, not blaming Muhammad, not blaming the man, but blaming the woman. So at the end of the day, these people must be idiots to be defending unauthentic hadith. That just show how deceptive this wolf is. This Abdul from Texas is a deceptive wolf.
Bear with me as I'm messing with this timer just real quick. Okay, so anyways, what I was trying to say is that some of these hadith are Hassan, meaning that they're good.
Who don't know that? Who don't know that? Who doesn't know that? The hadith is graded Sahih.
But the reporters are, known to have a good character, but a weak memory possibly, or they might be da'if, meaning that they're weak. And this hadith ranks under the Hassan because of a shortcoming of some type of sequence within the narrators of those hadith. Also, it might be Maudu, might be totally fabricated. Nevertheless, what you're doing is, again, you're giving your understanding of the hadith.
I read the hadith. There's no your understanding of anything. I read the hadith and what the hadith says. Do you see how deceptive this wolf is? You read the hadith and you see where a man beat his wife until his wife was black and blue. And what did Muhammad do about it? Muhammad gave the man the ruling because the man have 2 kids. That does not have anything to do with what the woman accusation is, because these children were born before the woman's accusation. According to him, the woman want to go back to her husband, but there is no proof of that. But what Muhammad did was rule against the woman, and his ruling was a monkey court. Because what? Not because a man have 2 children 4 years ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, married to a new wife, that doesn't mean that he is not impotent. And then you see how Muhammad was a donkey too, when Muhammad says, you can't go back to your husband until you have sex with this husband. Exploiting women, exploiting women.
That you're not qualified to give.
When you hear these stories where they say, oh, you're not qualified to do this, you're not qualified to do this stuff, don't listen to that. You see what I'm saying? A literature is just a literature, and you read it and you get your understanding clear from what is revealed. It's nonsensical to think that, hey, only certain people can understand hadith. That's a lie. That's a stupid lie. Only the you got to go to hadith school, and that's deception. That is totally deception. No one have to go nowhere to read a hadith and understand what is going on there. Hadith is just a piece of history. That's all it is, a piece of history, and anybody can understand a piece of history. It does not. You don't have to go to no special school to understand a piece of history. it is clear that Aisha showed that Muslim men were beating up their women. Because if you notice what Aisha says, let me show you what Aisha says. I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing woman. That's what Aisha says. That's what Aisha says. And it's not the only narration. That's not the only narration. There's other narration of the same thing. You know, that's what Aisha says. And when we look at it, as I said, that's not the only place we see where men were beating up women. We see where Abu Said al-Khudri talk about another instant. A woman came to the Prophet while we were with him and said, Allah Apostle, my husband Safan bin beats me when I pray. So this woman came to Muhammad and said, my husband beat me when I pray. Beats me when I pray. And makes me break my fast when I keep a fast. And he does not offer the dawn prayer until the sun rises. So Muhammad asked Safran, who was present, about what she had said. He replied, Apostle of Allah, as for her statement, he beats me when I pray, she recite 2 surahs during prayer, and I have prohibited her to do so. So because the woman repeat two prayers, 2 surahs during the prayer, he beat his wife. Can you see this stuff? Do you see what was going on? The Prophet said, if 1 surah is recited during prayer, that is sufficient for the people. So didn't stop this man like, hey, you don't beat your wife for certain stuff like that. Or don't beat your wife at all. Because what? They were beating their wives. That's what the Quran says. That's what goes. So the historical background is what support what the Quran says, and not some things that comes later that, oh, narrated this, narrated that, narrated this, not narrated that. This is history right here. The scholar, no, I mean, the scholar says, the scholar says, the scholar says, the scholar says. Who are the scholars? The scholars are nobodies. The scholars are nobodies. When it comes to the Hadith and the Quran, the Sunnah and Islam when it comes to these stuff, they come and they interpret their stuff. Notice Kenny Boomer is saying that you beat the woman with a little stick, a little stuff. You beat the woman with a little stick, you tap her. It shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't hurt. How is that discipline? Now tell me, how is that any form of discipline? What is beating for? Beating is a form of negative punishment, a conditioning to stop bad behavior. That's what they use it for. But if you tap in a woman like this, it shouldn't hurt. That's a lie. It's totally lie. That it shouldn't hurt. That's afterthought that came after the Quran, that it shouldn't hurt. Safran continue. As regard her saying, he makes me break my fast. She dotes on fasting, and I am a young man. I can't restrain myself. So, Muhammad, and this is graded Sahih again. Sunan Abu Dawud. This is Sahih graded. So, here it is. What did Muhammad do? Muhammad didn't tell the man not to beat his wife. Because that's what the Quran says. You can beat your wife. You can beat your wife. That's what the Quran says. There is even an hadith that says you can no man should question you when you beat your wife. So at the end of the day, you see that, you know, these guys are not telling the truth. So what we're gonna do from here, we are gonna go back. We are gonna go back to the video of the sheikh explaining, and we see the difference between what he says and what Kenny Bomer says. This is why Islam is deception, because they speak with two mouths. This is a simple thing as beating a woman, and then they have two different ideas of what the beating is supposed to be like. Then you know that something is wrong. Why is it that Kenny have a different view of the beating than this guy? Because what? They don't bite into the same mango. Something is wrong. See how she's honored to be beaten. Is an honor.
إن ضربها لا
If the husband beats his wife, he must not beat her in the face. So, because you're not beating in the face, you're not. I notice he never said nothing about no gently, as Kenny is saying. He's talking about beating, because it's beat. And Muhammad Ijab actually said the man is defending himself. That is, a woman is, the woman. No, he said, if you fear rebellion, if you fear any form that she's gonna rebel against you, beat her.
يضربها على وجهها حتى وهو.
Even when he beats her, he must not curse her. So you could beat her, but you're not curse her. But guess what? If the same verse says that the man must first choose not to sleep with the woman, but if the woman choose not to sleep with the man, according to Muhammad, angel curse her until morning. If the woman decided, I'm not sleeping with you, the angel curse her until morning. Wow, man, I'm telling you. The angels will curse her until the morning come. If she said, I'm not sleeping with this man, then the angels curse her until the morning. So, this is Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 4, book 54, hadith 460. Allah Apostle said, if a husband call his wife to bed, that is to have sexual relations, and she refuses and cause him to sleep in anger, the angel will curse her till morning. Do you see that? Do you see that? So the angel will curse the woman for not having sex with the husband, but the husband can refuse to sleep with the wife. The husband can refuse to sleep with the wife, but the angel will curse the wife until morning if she refuses to sleep with the man. This is Islam. So if you notice what this was all about, it was all about equality of women in Islam. And it's proven from the Quran that there is no equality, and then it's proven from the Hadith that there is no equality.
هو يضربها لا يسبها ولا يشتمها. عجيب. إذن هو يضرب.
This is incredible. This man is so excited by this stuff. He said, this is incredible. He beats her in order to discipline her, but he can't curse her. So, no, Mr. Kenny, look how nonsensical you are. You says, oh, it's tapping and it shouldn't hurt, but he beat her to discipline her. How is this discipline? If you're tapping a person and it shouldn't hurt the person, how are you disciplining the person? How is that a discipline? We know what discipline means. Psychology. To be a nurse, you got to go do psychology. And psychology, they have a thing called conditioning. And in conditioning, there is different kind of conditioning. And then you have punishment, which is a part of conditioning. And you have negative punishment, which is beating. You're beating a person, that is negative punishment. But if you tap in a person like this, that's not beating, so it cannot be no form of punishment. So how is this man saying that discipline? You can't discipline a person by tapping them like this and it doesn't hurt. According to Kenny, it should not hurt. And you will hear Kenny Bomer says it shouldn't hurt the woman. You shouldn't hurt the woman. And then he's gonna go off ranting off some verses that don't even make no sense. Because if the Quran is telling you that you can beat your wife, as long as you're within the law of the Quran beating your wife, guess what? You are considered pious and good, because you're following the law of the Quran. How can a man be considered unjust for doing what the so-called God tell him to do? So when you read a verse and said he said a man should be righteous, it doesn't change. If the Quran said to beat your unruly wife or your rebellious wife, and you're beating your wife, that means you are righteous because you're following a so-called righteous command. You're quote-unquote righteous because you're following Allah's command. So at the end of the day, all the verses that you're quoting doesn't even make no sense. And we'll show you that Kenny Bomer never makes sense. This boy never makes sense.
للتأديب وإذا ضرب لا يزيد عن 10.
In addition, there must not be more than 10 beatings. You see, if you were just tapping a person like this and it doesn't hurt, you could beat them all day. But notice what this guy said. It shouldn't be more than 10 beatings. 10 beatings what? Is it 10 strokes or 10 slaps or 10? Or the guy says smack. One of the translator actually says smacker. One translator actually said you could smack the woman. Literally. The translator says you could smack the woman. This is the craziness of Islam. And then he come here in the 24th century trying to defend that stuff, trying to act like you don't know what you're talking about. This is how crazy this guy is. Hassan Al-Fati, his translation say, and smack her. But you can smack her with a stick. That little piece of stick, you can smack her with this. No, smack means you smack her with your hand. Then he put in back in the bracket, without harshness. That's parentheses, not real. Fairly and not out of anger. Do you see how stupid this is? They're trying to water down. So listen what this one say. Ali Bakhtiari. Notice what he says. Spank her fairly and not out of anger. So why are you hitting someone if you're not hungry? If you're not hungry, why are you hitting somebody? Make no sense. Make no sense. So let the man continue. We're going to let this guy continue because we see this guy actually closer to what the truth of the Quran is.
وإذا ضرب لا
Must not break her bone and must not injure her. But anytime you beat somebody, you're injuring them. Anytime you beat somebody, it causes injury. Even if you don't see any injury, injury is caused. You know, you can't say, oh, I'm going to beat somebody and it doesn't cause injury. Because any pain, anytime you feel pain, something is injured that causes the pain. There is a reason why there is pain. Something caused pain. Nerve problem caused pain. Pressure against nerve. So when it's an injury, what do you mean? Do you mean visible injury or any injury at all? And if you notice this, never say not to cause her any pain. This guy will never say not to cause her any pain because it would be senseless to be beating someone to discipline them without any pain. This is how crazy Kenny Bomer is. But you're going to hear him say no pain.
يكسر عظمه ولا يقطع لحمه ولا يكسر سنه.
So you mustn't break her teeth. You mustn't poke her in the eye.
ولا يفقه عين أدب عند
There is a beating etiquette. Wow. And do you see what I say to this Texas Abdul? I told the Texas Abdul, I said to him, I said, this is what I told the Texas Abdul, that he didn't pay attention to this. I told him, I said, hey, if Muslims were to live under American rule, following their Quran, following this nonsense that even this guy is saying, a lot of them here in America, I don't mean the ones coming from the West that is already trained to be beaten, are coming from the East that are already trained to be beaten. I mean that any man become a Muslim in America and beating the woman, they end up in jail. They would end up in jail. And he go off and he rant and he says, there is more men in jail in America, this and that. Why do you think that there are not men in jail a lot of men for beating their wives in jail in Saudi Arabia and Iran? Because it is the right of a man to beat their woman according to the Quran. And most of the court system follow Quran law. They will follow the Quran. They will follow the Quran there. And let me just read something. What that's going on in Iran, and this is from let me see what this is called, Human Rights Watch, and I read something that goes on in Iran. It said, in Iran, women's rights activists have campaigned for such a law for 16 years. What law are they talking about? A law to protect women from abuse. And let me show you that is true. I won't cite the page because I don't know if there is any protection against where you can't use that the page, rights where you cannot use the page. But anyway, so he says Iran should address gaps in its long-awaited draft law on violence against women that offer limited protection for survivors of domestic violence. So at the end of the day, domestic violence is not reportable in countries like these, where they don't care about women's rights as much as America and Canada and other European countries care about women's rights. Women just start driving car in Saudi Arabia. So you beating a woman over there. What documentation in court shows nothing about that? And where can you get those documentation? So to the public, for a person could look to court documentation here in America and draw statistics and stuff of domestic violence and women abuse here, but they can't do it in those countries because they don't. Even when it's reported, it's left alone. Remember, I showed you the video the other day where the man in Iran beat up the woman, kicked her twice, and what happened? They reported to the police, and the police literally say he have a right to do it. So when this guy talking about comparing America and the domestic people in jail versus Islamic country where there's nobody in jail, we actually just show that Islam doesn't care about women's rights. And the reason is, if they care, more men would be in jail because the Quran told them to beat their women, and they're following it and beating their women. So the cabinet has been reviewing the draft protection, dignity, and security of women against violence bill since September 17, 2019, after the judiciary announced that it had completed its review and submitted the bill back to the cabinet. So you see, this is the era. Look, 2019. This is written when? This is written when? 2020. And there is no bill against domestic violence. So you see, this is the reason you don't have reports of domestic violence in these Islamic countries. So when he talking all this nonsense, we know that that's his stupidity. And then here it goes again, Human Rights Watch. This time, 10 reasons why women flee. 10 reasons why women are running from Saudi Arabia. And one of the reasons is, you will hear Kenny and even Mohammed Ijab mention they could report it to their guardian or something similar. They could report it to their guardian. And guess what? These women are appointed guardianship. There's a male guardianship system, and these are the men who abuse women. Under the male guardianship system, a male control a Saudi woman's life from her birth until her death. Every Saudi woman must have a male guardian, normally a father or a husband, but in some cases a brother or even a son, who has the power to make range of critical decisions on her behalf. Where you see that? Do you see that? Where's the woman right? Where's the women right? So when he's talking about people in American prison for domestic violence, can you imagine? People are in American prison for domestic violence, but America have a law against domestic violence. In the Quran, it says you can beat your wife. So what do you think would have happened if Muslims are allowed in American system to beat their wife? A Muslim are allowed to come here, and the law didn't and the law come here with following the Quran law. What do you think would have happened if Muslims come here following the Quran? They would have ended up in jail more than anybody else. You know, you see the behavior in Europe. There's a case where they're showing that in Europe for our time, young Muslim men were raping women on the rampage, just raping women all over. Just on the rampage, raping women all over. I think Norway was one of those countries, but they were just raping women. And one of the reasons is because of the way the women were dressed. So you're going to hear Kenny Bomer talk about Islam preach for people to live together in unity and live to this and live to that and live together in unity. But that's not true. Islam, wherever Islam rule, anybody else is second-class citizens. Look at the persecution of Christians in Iran and Iraq and all over. You will see. In Pakistan, anywhere Islam majority and ruling, look at the persecution of Christians in Pakistan. Look. And some of these Christians are not even like going out there talking like the way I talk. They're just minding their own business. Kenny Bomer bring a woman on his channel and his show, and the woman remind me of an informer. You know what I see her do, the way she start talking about, oh, go after his nurse's license and do this and that. You know what it remind me of? The video where this woman was beaten badly, a Christian woman was beaten badly in Pakistan because they make up a whole bunch of lie and they report her for blasphemy when she did not say anything against Muhammad. They report her for blasphemy. That's the kind of behavior. Then Kenny Bomer actually shows that people can live in society and in peace with a Muslim, because what you can't say what you want to say. A Muslim actually said, you know, I don't even want to mention what he said, but I have it. I have a screenshot of it. You know, disrespecting Jesus's mother. Very, very disrespectful to Jesus' mother. But if you had reverse and say something like that about Muhammad's mother or Muhammad, guess what? And you're in their territory. They want to kill you. But they come to the West. He's living in England making that speech. But guess what? If you were living in Pakistan and say something like that about Muhammad's mama, you'll be dead by now. And this is how you see the difference between Islam. A man show up a cartoon about Muhammad, cut his neck off. Kenny Boomer gloated when Atuntash was struck. And you know why I know he gloated? He actually mentioned my name. Christian Prince, David Wood, D.L. Tate, Eric Smith, Chris Claus, Rob Christian, whoever he called, Olga Yates. You think you're going to talk, continue to talk about this and that, and paraphrasing him, and don't get slapped upside the head? So can he expect in a Muslim society for people to be slapped upside the head when they talk bad about Muhammad? But what happened if you are a Muslim? You see which Christian is slapping Leah upside the head for talking bad about Jesus's mother? Do you see? That's the society that you see Kenny Bomer. But he will lie to you and pretend as if the Islamic and pretend as if you could live in unity with Muslim. You can't. Don't keep all this fakeness that they talk. But at the end of the day, if it was a blasphemy against Muhammad, where is there a law called blasphemy against Jesus in the Christian world? So there is no equality. You know, a person cannot say what they want to say about Muhammad or Islam. I couldn't say Islam is a fraud. Is with a made up God in an Islam under an Islam caliphate. You can't say that. But guess what? They could say Christianity is a fraud, and they this and this. The Jews are fraud. They could say anything. That's the difference. So let's listen to this guy as we continue to listen to this guy.
ضرب إذا ضرب عند
If he beat her to discipline her, he must not raise his an eye. He must not raise his an eye. So you don't have to raise your an eye to beat somebody. Don't even make no sense. Your wrist is what you use to beat. You know, it's not like you're boxing, not like you're cutting a tree where you have to take the machete from up here and slam it down, or axe from up there and slam it down. You're talking about beating somebody. Your wrist is what do the damage. Do you see?
التأديب لا يرفع يده إلى أعلى بل يضربها.
He must not beat her from the chest level. So you go, Kenny Bomer. Kenny Bomer, man. Do you hear that, Kenny? You can't beat her from the chest level. Wow.
بحذاء صدره. كل هذا تكريم للمرأة.
No. Look what he says. All these things honor the woman. Oh wow! This is a donkey. We need to give that donkey laugh, man. But I will continue with it. This deserves the donkey laugh. I ain't gonna lie about this. You have to be retarded to be promoting this nonsense. You have to be totally retarded. This is total retard behavior, man. To be said that honor the woman, to beat the woman, honor the woman. Wow, what a lovely people they are. So let's give him the donkey laugh because he deserves it. Straight up donkey, man. Straight up donkey. That man is a straight up donkey. So you could beat a woman, but that the beating honor the woman. Beating the woman honors the woman. Beating a woman honors the woman. Wow. What a donkey these people are, man. Straight up donkeys, man. So beating the woman honors the woman. I've never heard that before. That's a big.
للمرأة هي تحتاج إلى
She is in need of discipline. Wow. And who beat the man when he's in need of discipline? But you see, this is why I say Kenny Boomer is naive, man. Like totally naive. Either he is naive or he have a beating woman problem for him to be covering something like this. Either he's naive or he have a beating woman problem, because no man in his right sense would read a Quranic verse like that and then try to water it down to mean like, oh, how do you beat them? Like this guy, he said, beat them how? You know, beat them how? Beat them. All these scholars that came later and all these hadith that they make up and came later with is nonsense. It means to beat. Because what? Oh, fear rebellion. How you stop rebellion? By punishment. That means not tapping a person like this is not no punishment. I ain't gonna stop nothing. You beat them until they feel pain. And Aisha, so let's read something from what Aisha said Muhammad hurt her. Aisha said Muhammad hurt her. Yep. Aisha said Muhammad hurt her. Let me see. Where I know Aisha said Muhammad shove her in the chest and cause her pain and cause her to hurt. So that was no simple. That man said not to beat her from the chest down, but Muhammad shoved her his child bride, the baby bride, in the chest and caused her pain. And because I say baby bride, that's why he kicked me off. That's why he kicked me off, because I mentioned the word baby bride, so he kicked me off. He kicked me out because I said baby bride. Well, I'm gonna show you something about Kenny. Kenny is ashamed of his prophet, the dirty behavior of his prophet. He's ashamed. But I know. Let me find it. So we look at here. It's right here. Shove her in the chest. But these Abduls gonna say, oh, he never hurt a soul. He never. Muhammad was torturing people to show them what, so they will reveal where they hide their treasury, but he never hurt a soul. They're lying too much. Muhammad was beating Muslims and praying to his God, telling his God that any Muslim he beat without a cause, let it be a blessing on the day of judgment. Muhammad was beating people. Ali beat Aisha's slave, a female slave, while Muhammad stood by there. So I don't know where these guys get these nonsense that Muhammad never beat anybody, never hurt anybody. That's a fabricated nonsense. So we look at this. He says, he pushed me with a push that made me sore. So that's what he says, and that we could find in Sunan an-Nisai, book 36, hadith 25. She says, he gave me a shove in the chest that hurt me. So Muhammad shoved the baby bride in the chest. That's how. And you talk about Muhammad didn't eat nobody. Muhammad used to beat Muslims. I read the hadith to him where Muhammad used to abuse Muslims, and then pray to his God and tell his God to use the beating for a blessing. Instead of control his anger, he prayed to his God to use the beating as a blessing. So here we go. Here is Abu Hurairah reported that Allah Messenger as saying, "Oh Allah, I make a covenant with thee against which thou wouldest never go. I am a human being, and thus for a Muslim whom I give any harm, or whom I scold, or whom upon whom I invoke a curse, or whom I beat, make this a source of blessing and purification and nearness to thee on the day of resurrection." And this is Sahih Muslim, book 32, hadith number 6290. That's not the only one. Salim, the free slave of Nairim, said, I heard Abu Hurairah as saying that he heard Allah's messenger as saying, "O Allah, Muhammad is a human being. I lose my temper just as human being lose their temper. He loses temper, but he never hurt no one. And I have made a covenant with thee, which thou wouldest not break. For a believer whom I give trouble, or invoke curse, or beat, make that expiation of his sin and a source of his nearness to thee on the day of resurrection." Sahih Muslim 32, number 6293. So you see, Muhammad, they painting a donkey to make the donkey look like a princess. Oh, he never hurt anyone, he never beat anyone.
تأديب، تحتاج إلى تأديب، فكيف يؤدبها زوجها؟ بالوعظ، فإن لم ترتدع ولا.
You hear what he said? If she is not deterred, she should refuse to share the bed with her. So first you warn her, and if she's not deterred, refuse to share the bed with her. But if she refuses to share the bed with you, the angel curse her until morning. And women have the same right in Islam, equal rights. If you look at the Abdul from Texas, if you look at what he his stuff says, if you read his stuff, Christians deny equality between men and women in Islam. So he wants to say, I'm the one who deny that. No, the Quran denied that. The Quran denied that men and women are equal. Because a woman cannot beat her husband and refuse to sleep with her husband. So how are they equal? See, all this guy do is gallop like a donkey, man. Gallop from one end of the globe like a donkey. If the Quran is saying you can beat your wife and men were beating their wives, how are the women equal to you when they cannot return the beating to you? This is how naive this Abdul is.
لا تنزجر بالهجران فإن لم تنزجر.
If she is not repentant, then he should beat her, but there are rules to the beating. So beat her with rules, man. Even human being who beat their children know that there gotta be rules to beat your child. You can eat your child in the head, and you can't eat your child with anything. You know, you can't eat your child in the head, and you can't eat your child with anything, but you eat them on the rump. You know, I used to get whooping on the rump and on the thigh. I never eat me in the back or the head. You don't get, or the arm. They eat you in the middle of your hand, but not your arm. They eat you in the middle of your hand with a flat, like a flat thing, like what we call it, like a ruler. Yes, a ruler. They used to have those wooden ruler. They eat, and that hurt. It hurts. It not like it doesn't hurt. It hurts. And they eat you on the buttocks and the thigh with things that hurt you. So at the end of the day, you can hurt your wife. This man is not saying that, oh, you can't hurt the woman.
بالضرب وجعل شروطا للضرب لا تضرب الوجه ولا تقبح وأنت تضرب.
Forbidden to beat her in the face or make her ugly. So you don't beat her in the face, but you can beat her.
لا تقبح لا تسب ولا تشتم يا ابنة كذا.
And you can beat her but not curse her. But the angel will curse her till morning.
أنت كذا. لا ممنوع هذا في الإسلام.
Islam forbids this, to beat her and curse her, but you can beat her. Wow.
تكلم لها.
يضربها بإيه؟
يضربها. نعم.
بعصا.
صحيح. قالوا إن ضربها.
If he beats her, the beating should not be hard. How do you consider what is hard? Oh boy. If you beats her, the beating should not be hard. It's a punishment. If beating is a punishment, I'm sure it's going to cause pain.
يضربها ضربا غير مبرح لا يترك أثرا.
So that they do not leave a mark. So only when you're leaving a mark, that means, you beat a person without leaving a mark, and the person still feel pain. But what did Kenny Boomer? You will hear Kenny Boomer says no pain, and Kenny Boomer gonna go off into the stupidest rhetoric about if the Quran is telling you to be righteous, how can you beat your wife? It's the Quran telling you to beat your wife. So do you believe that the Quran is righteous? So you beat your wife. If you beat your wife, according to the Quran, you're righteous. Stupid. He said, what he says, discipline her gently. I hear this guy talking about beating because that's what the actual Arabic, this guy speak Arabic, and that's what the actual Arabic says, beat. But this guy Kenny Boomer gonna read from the clear Quran, the fake Quran, and he actually say it's not the real Quran, it's a translation. So he's gonna read from the fake Quran and then say, that's how you beat your wife. So, but let's continue so we can get there, because I want to play some of this Kenny Boomer, show how stupid this guy is.
يضربها بعصا قصير.
You beat her he can beat her with a short rod. Ooh, wow, a short rod. A rod. Do you see what that is? A rod. Kenny took a piece of stick and say, oh, you can beat her with a stick. But this guy is saying you can beat her with a short rod.
وإذا ضربها.
You must avoid beating her in the face. He keep repeating that. And in places in the head where it hurts. So if you beat somebody with a short rod on their arm and their buttocks and their thighs and their legs, it doesn't hurt. Oh, wow. Wow. All the cover up come to one thing. You can beat your wife. So let's get out of this and go to Kenny Bomer, the Texas Abdul. We need to look at Kenny Bomer ranting off his mouth. He think because he's calm, he's sensible. He believes that being calm make you feel sensible.
Because you don't understand all of Islamic jurisprudence. You don't understand what
all this nonsense about understanding Islamic jurisprudence, that's totally nonsense. Like, that's totally nonsense. When you read the Quran, it's a book, and you can read it and understand it. You read the Hadith, it's books. You can read it and understand it. It's history. You can read it and understand it. You know nothing about no jurisprudence and this prudence and all this prudence and all this prudence. Muhammad didn't have no jurisprudence and no prudence. Muhammad was just a man making up stupidity to control the people. So all these stuff that comes after, not get yourself tied up into that. That's just the how to con people to say, oh, you don't understand this. You don't understand when people are talking what's going on. You say, oh, you don't understand that. We all understand that. Listen to what this person writes right here. With a mishwak. How hard can you beat someone with a toothbrush? Do you see how crazy these Abduls are? He said, how hard can you beat someone with a toothbrush? You could hurt somebody with a toothbrush. Literally. If you hit somebody on the finger, look at this pen. A toothbrush is not as thick as this pen. And if you hit me right on the finger with these, you could hurt me. So that's nonsense. Totally nonsense. This woman asks, how hard can you beat someone with a toothbrush? Beat the person on their finger with the toothbrush and see. A toothbrush is harder than this pen. And if you hit the person on the finger with this pen, it can hurt the person. It depends on where you're hitting the person. But guess what? That's a lie. There is nowhere in the Quran that tells you what you should beat the woman with. He said to beat her. So anything that comes after is fake. Tell you how to beat the woman. Anything that comes after is a fake. Do you see? The Daif. So she wrote. The woman wrote Daif, and that's not even the way you spell Daif. Daif mean weak, and Asan mean good. But guess what? The verse that I quoted was Sahih. Sahih. Not the verse, but the hadith that I quoted was Sahih.
Quran is actually saying you took what the Quran is saying and totally misconstrued everything that's being stated.
I read what the Quran says. The Quran said to beat your wife. You want to tell me that Sahih International, the person who translates that don't know Arabic, and there is nothing in there that says anything. The person who read the misconstrued Quran is a clear Quran, is a misconstrued Quran. because according to that, he said, discipline them gently. And there is no other Arabic word that says discipline or gently in the Arabic. He says to beat them, or scourge them, or smack them. And that's why those people translate it that way. Those are Muslim translators translating it to mean smack, scourge, beat, hit, strike. But you, if you strike somebody, and you're going to say, oh, you strike them gently. It's gently. No, just listen to the word strike and you will know. If you look at the word strike, you don't see nothing gently about strike. It forcefully. That's what strike means. And what the other one says, let me look and see what it says. Because that's what strike means. I'm not dumb. No. So hit. And it means to hit forcefully too. Hit. You tapping somebody like this, that's tap. You know, a tap and a hit is different. But look at this. Smack. If you look at the word smack, you will see what the word smack means. So strike means forcefully, smack. And that's what Muhammad did to his wife. He shoved her in the chest. That's forcefully shove her. So that could be seen as a striking her in the chest, because she said it hurts. You look at smack. If you look at smack, smack is also forceful. Sharp, a sharp slap or blow, typically on one with the palm of the hand. So you see that. And what's the definite? What's the synonyms for smack? Slap, hit, strike, spank, and guess what? These are three of the translation: hit, strike, and spank. Yeah. So you see, who was telling a lie? Mr. Bomer, the guy who, Mr. Bomer is a guy who always telling lie. Telling lie. In a hell him gonna fry if he don't stop telling lies. Telling pure lies. So let me see what's going on here and go back to where we were.
Guess what? As I go ahead and start my time. Matter of fact,
do you see how long he's talking? He's gonna start his time. I told you, bro. I said this guy is one of the most unfair hypocrites you will come across. This guy right here is an hypocrite.
Let me start my time. But in the process of this, see, what I have in my hand is also have the Sahih International, and so what I'm going to do is
and look what he's going to do. Look how naive this guy is. He said, and you're going to see that he's not reading from the Sahih International. He's a liar. And he's not reading from the Sahih International, because remember I read from the Sahih International, and notice what he's going to read, and you know that this is, he said what he have in his hand also of the Sahih International. But you know that he's lying. He's not going to read from the Sahih International. And the reason you know he's not reading from the Sahih International, because I read from the Sahih International. And I'll show you that Kenny Bomer is a liar. Let's reveal who Kenny Bomer really is, because people need to know this guy. This guy is a liar. Now you're gonna hear him reading, okay? So And I will show you, I will read, when you read and then show you. So where we are, the site is called Quran. So the site is called Quran. So it's a Quran corpus, Quran.com. So you will see that this guy is a liar. So let him read. We're going to let him read.
I'm going to read the footnotes, which you failed to do. And it says, again, men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other, and what they spend for maintenance for their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them lightly.
Notice he says that, strike them lightly. Now let us read the Sahih International, and you will see no lightly is there. He says, Allah would have them guard, but those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. There is no lightly there. There is no lightly there. There is no lightly. So that guy is not reading a footnote from no, he's a liar. Total liar. He reading the footnote from the clear Quran. And that's what he got in his hand. He gonna say, I got the Sahih International in this too. Oh, so you got the Sahih International. He have the footnote. They have the clear Quran, and then he gonna call the clear Quran the Sahih International.
Is reliable. Do you realize
the chain is reliable?
Hadith is a reliable source. Okay, meaning that the one who,
let's see.
See, what I have in my hand is also have the Sahih International. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the footnotes, which you failed to do.
He got the clear Quran, and then he said, what he have in his hand also have the Sahih International. he have the clear Quran in his hand, and he says, what he have in his hand also have the Sahih International. This is how deceptive this wolf is.
And it says, again, men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other, and what they spend for maintenance.
So you see, men are in charge of women for what they spend for maintenance. The Sahih International said nothing about no maintenance. Let me see. Because he's not reading from the Sahih International. Because the Sahih International, it's in brackets for maintenance, in bracket. But the Sahih International said nothing at all about strike them lightly. He is still reading from the clear Quran. The Sahih International says nothing about strike them lightly. So the footnote, whoever put that footnote in must know more about than Allah know. To be making a footnote about striking lightly when the Quran didn't say that. So you see him lying. You see, that's true. Muslim apologists have to reinterpret the text. They cannot adhere to the obvious original meaning. That's true because what? They have to conform to the modern world. Their Quran had to conform to the modern world. And you hear many people calling for reformation of Islam, Islamic reformation, that they need to reform Islam. You hear Muslim actually calling for Islamic reformation
for their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance. First advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them lightly. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. What is the footnote that you failed to read here? It says, this final measure is more psychological than physical. It may be.
Wow. So the final measure is more psychological than physical. Wow. Does that even make any sense? You're talking about conditioning a person. Stop sleeping with them and then beat them. And it is more psychological to beat a person than it is physical. Wow. Stop sleeping with a person is more psychological. But when it comes to beating, that is physical. So you move from psychological, so you move from a more warning a person to a psychological move, stop sleeping with them. And then you move to a physical. So you go to physical. And as I show you with the other guy is actually saying that you beat them. So when he's saying that it is more psychological, no, it's not psycho. You can tapping a person with a pen. How does that affect the person? They'll be laughing like, "What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" Like, you know, how is that? So you tap them with a pen and then go back and start sleeping with them. That woman be like, and continue your behavior. No, beating is a form of conditioning. It is negative punishment. It's a negative punishment and a psychological way of conditioning a person. Yes, it affects you psychologically, but what affects you psychologically? The thoughts of being beaten, the very thought of being beaten, the memory of the pain. That's what affects you psychologically. If you don't have any pain, you'll be laughing. If your husband or your wife come in and slapping you like, where were you last night? Where this? Where that? And where this? Why that? How does that affect you? No way at all. Just barely touching you. Like, baby, where are you? You know, and behave yourself. When I listen to you, why don't you listen to me? Why don't you listen to me? Why don't you listen to me? She be laughing at you. And then she continue her work, in her world. It means to beat the person because beating is a way to condition people. Just like you, when people do certain things and in an Islamic rule and they give them flogging, they beat them, it's a conditioning. It's an effect. The effect is to condition your mind. So you can't lightly, as you claim, and call it psychological. How is it psychological? Somebody tapping you.
Be resorted to only after failure of the first two measures and when is expected to amend the situation and prevent family breakup. Otherwise, it is not acceptable. The Prophet, peace be upon him, says, who in this translation says, who never struck a woman or a servant.
Do you notice what he says? In this translation said, how is that a translation? The Quran is a translation. That's addition to the Quran. It said never struck a woman. That's somebody's opinion, because according to the Hadith, he did beat shove Aisha in the chest, and Muhammad didn't have to strike anybody to be a beater. If you allow people to beat other people, then you are a beater. And he says, notice he said Muhammad will never do what?
Allah has given one over the other, and what they spend for maintenance for their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them lightly. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand.
So if they obey you, seek no means against them. If you're slapping somebody, it's like it and it doesn't hurt. You're not hurting nobody, so you won't seek nothing against nobody. At the end of the day, what the Quran is saying, if you beat them, and they repent, then you don't continue to beat them. You let go now. They repent, so you let go. Because who's gonna repent of something when you got a pen and just like, you know, like, boy, get away from me. That's what's gonna happen, you know. So he know what he talking is nonsense.
What is the footnote that you failed to read here? It says this mark on the person. You're not supposed to leave it cause any pain or
listen. You're not supposed to cause any pain. How are you conditioning a person without pain? That's a lie. Totally lie. Why are you beating them in the first place then? If you're not supposed to cause any pain. Kenny is a donkey, man. I'll tell you straight out. This guy is a galloping donkey. Look, why are you beating somebody? He says to beat them. Not sleeping with them would have more effect than you beating someone without any pain at all. And do you notice what the other guy on the video says? It's an honor to beat the woman. So let's continue, man.
Cause any red mark on the person. That's what Islam states. That's what the
scholars. That's what Islam state. What is Islam then? That's why I told the guy when I started out. I said there's this thing called Weslam, where they are trying to please the West, trying to suck up to the West. But the reality is what happened inside the home of these Muslims. Because don't care how you spread this propaganda out here about tapping. Who believe that stupidity? Who tell me who believe that you just take a thing and just hit your wife and it should cause no pain? It should cause no pain, but you are trying to stop a behavior, but you're just tapping on her to stop a behavior. How? How is that? First, you don't sleep with her. That is more effective than tapping her and causing her no pain at all. So at the end of the day, do you see that it makes no sense? It makes no sense what Kenny is saying, cause her no pain. You're not supposed to cause no pain. And then you're going to hear the fool gallop off into another world, a world of idiotry.
Scholars say, Olga Yates, scholars that you have not studied.
Scholars? Who give a crap about scholars? Like, do you see that this guy put the scholars above his Quran? Who care about what the scholar says? We are looking at what the Quran says to beat your wife. But the scholar's gonna say, no, you're not supposed to beat your wife. You're not supposed to hurt. If you're not hurting the wife, you're not beating her. That's the key. How can you beat somebody that you're not hurting? How can you beat somebody that you're not hurting? So the scholars don't make any sense. So what do you go back to? To the Quran. If the Quran says beat your wife, then you beat your wife. But the scholars say, you tap them. That means the Quran is a book of nonsense. So why would I follow a religion that tell me something that the scholar's gonna say, no, don't beat them, just tap her, when the Quran says beat? That means the Quran is a book of nonsense. The scholar overruled the Quran. Do you see? The same very verse have this line, have this part of a sentence, because I think there is a comma there, part of a sentence that says a man is above a woman because of the money he spent on the woman. But we realize that this is a stupidity from any source, because many women have more money than men. So right then, the Quranic God set up himself as a donkey. And then the Quranic God gonna say beat, and guess what? The scholar's gonna come and overrule the Quranic God and say just tap lightly and you must not hurt the person. How you gonna discipline somebody if you're just tapping them like this, tapping them? You know, it's you're talking about corporal punishment, and you're talking about tapping a person in corporal punishment. He's talking about discipline. The guy on the other video said discipline, keep saying be discipline, discipline. But this Bomer, this Abdul from Texas, have no sense at all. And listen where we're gonna run after.
Studied in institutions that you have not been a part of.
Oh boy. It's like me saying you can't understand the Bible because you didn't go to an institution that you are not a part of. Stupid, man. That's craziness. All they are doing is taking money from these Abduls and turning them into idiots. Because the Quran said to beat. The Quran said to beat. You see what I'm saying? And we see the situation. I'll show you where Muhammad have a case to try where a man was beating his wife. He did not tell the man to stop beating his wife. But you notice what this guy do. Notice what this guy do. He attacked the hadith. He threw the Quran under the bus, then he attacked the hadith. Then he come and he read what some scholars say. And then he said to you, the footnote. Like the scholar is above the hadith and the scholar is above the Quran. This guy is a donkey. Straight donkey. A straight donkey this guy is. Like what he, and then listen how far this guy gonna go.
And reading pamphlets that you have not gone.
I'm reading pamphlets. You say reading pamphlets, man. Wow. Wow. So pamphlets is above reading the Quran. I read the Quran, you read pamphlets. You need a pampas, you're a baby. You need a pampas, boy. That's what you need. You're crazy. You come and read pamphlets. Like, the pamphlets you read is somebody's idea if it's not talking about what the Quran says. The Quran says beat. And there is no gently in the Quran. There is nothing say gently in the Quran. It says beat. Nothing say gently in the Quran. Nothing at all say gently. And that's why Muhammad Ijab had to twist it and say the man was defending himself. That's why Muhammad Ijab had to twist it. One scenario he give if the woman is trying to hurt the baby. If the woman is trying to hurt the baby, that's one scenario he give because he knows it means to beat the woman. That's what it means.
To your local masjid or mosque because
donkey, nobody have to go to no mosque to understand the Quran. That's stupidity. That's nonsense. Nobody have to go to no mosque to understand this Quran. We listen to thousands and videos of people who preaching from a mosque. You don't have to go inside no mosque to understand the Quran. That's stupid. That is so stupid, man. Oh, you got to go to a mosque to understand the Quran. Like the building going to make you understand the Quran. It doesn't even make no damn sense. This guy is naive, illiterate, man, naive. Talking about he write book. His book. He write book and have all these book, got all these mistakes in his book. Man, you're just making yourself look like an idiot, man. You got to go to a mosque to understand the Quran.
Because you're an Islamophobe and scared to death that the Muslims are going to do something to you, you haven't gone to pick up these pamphlets.
Oh, you haven't gone to pick up these pamphlets. I pick up your Quran, you foolish donkey. I pick up your Quran. Nobody had to pick up your What a donkey. I pick up your Quran and read from your Quran, and your Quran says you can beat women. So all your pamphlets can't undo the Quran. Your pamphlets cannot undo the Quran. You're a donkey.
It's OV8s to understand what is it that the Muslims are being taught.
We don't care what the Muslims are being taught in the West. We don't care what they're being taught in the West. It's not because what they are doing is deceiving people. They're deceiving people, and they're brainwashing even the Muslim. They're brainwashing the Muslim. But guess what? The Quran said plainly. So I could go and I say, this is what the Bible says, but you teaching me something different. I don't have to follow what you say, even though you're teaching it. I don't have to follow what you say, even though you're teaching it. This guy don't realize this stuff. You could take up, you could make up all your pamphlets you want to make, and you could teach them in your mosque and in your stuff. When somebody pick up the Quran and read it and say he can beat your wife, then you can beat your wife. And then look at you, you got all your pamphlets, and you are saying that it shouldn't hurt the woman. But the other guy that we just played didn't say that it shouldn't hurt the woman. He just say you don't beat her hard. But what does it mean to beat somebody hard? He said you don't raise your hand. You don't raise your hand. But you don't have to raise your hand to beat somebody. Do you see that all these pamphlets, but he teaching different from you. All this pamphlet, but Muhammad Hijab is saying that the man is a verse telling you to defend yourself against the woman's attack. And the woman is trying to hurt the baby. So if a woman is trying to hurt the baby, you're going to tap her on the shoulder like, don't hurt the baby, don't hurt the baby, don't hurt the baby. You listen to Muhammad Hijab and what he says. If the woman is trying to hurt the baby, that's what Muhammad Hijab says. So if the woman is trying to hurt the baby, this is something a defense of the baby, defense of himself. The woman is trying to hurt the baby. That's what Muhammad Hijab says. So at the end of the day, which one are you telling the truth? Which one of you telling the truth? Let's listen to what Muhammad Hijab said. They'll show you that if a woman is gonna hurt the baby, you're gonna take a little stick and stab her and it doesn't hurt. Well, listen, Muhammad Hijab. So let's show that these two guys, nothing but donkeys. Nothing but donkeys, man. So now he is relying on the 21st century footnotes rather than the original Quran. Yes, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Relying on the 21st century footnote. And look here now. Look to what Muhammad Hijab. I want you guys to listen to what Muhammad Hijab says. And it's all these pamphlets that this idiot is showing. Muhammad Hijab is saying something totally different from him. All the pamphlet that this donkey is showing. Listen to what Muhammad Hijab is going to say. So let's see what Muhammad Hijab said.
It actually is mentioned in relation to women, the same word. In chapter 4, I think verse 28, how to defend himself against his wife. Islam's normative position is to go and hit the wives to discipline them or something. This is against the Quranic and Islamic or Hadith narrative. This verse is not telling a man how to hit or beat up his wife. This is telling how a man or a husband how to defend himself against his wife. Because the thing is, the nature of man is that a man is prone to, in a more biological, predetermined way, to a kind of aggressive behavior. So this Quranic injunction, these 3 steps, warn, abstain from sexual intercourse, and then you can apply daraba, which we can explain later on, or I've already explained in a couple of videos.
But look, do you notice his story make no sense? And Abdullah Shamir revealed him, his story made no sense. Because at one point he says, if the woman trying to hurt the baby. Do you see? One point he says, if the woman is trying to hurt the baby.
Mine, which we don't, maybe I don't want to descope this discussion. Then you can do this, right? So someone might argue that, how comes it's not mentioned, this word is not mentioned in relation to women? I would say actually it is mentioned.
Hold on.
It's actually because this verse is not telling a man how to beat up his wife. It's not
Hold on.
against her will in that context. So let's say a fair-minded feminist will say, yeah, okay, he can do as much as it needs, as he needs in order to get her off him. So I would say that if that is the case, then we've agreed already. And then say, why is that? Why have we agreed? So, well, the reason why we've agreed is actually
Fear-minded feminist. Everybody should be a feminist. A fear-minded feminist. Everybody should be a feminist. What man should not be a feminist? Feminists mean to defend women's rights. Isn't that what feminists?
because this verse is not telling a man how to beat up his wife.
Hold on.
It's not. In fact, the Prophet explicitly told us in a hadith in Tirmidhi, لا تضربوا إماء الله. Do not hit the women's servants of Allah. Do not hit them. So if anyone says, okay, well, Islam's normative position is to go and hit the wives to discipline them or something.
Do you see? Are these he quoting this hadith or that comes later? Do not hit the woman. But the Quran is telling you could beat the woman. So it doesn't make no sense. Islam is a mess. Islam is nonsense. Quran said to it, hadith said no, Muhammad said no. Who is but Muhammad didn't say no. These are afterthoughts. Lying afterthoughts.
Something. This is against the Quranic and Islamic or Hadith narrative. This verse is not telling a man how to hit or beat up his wife. This is telling how a man or a husband how to defend himself against his wife. Because the thing is, the nature of man is that a man is prone to, in a more biological, predetermined way, to a kind of aggressive behavior. So this Quranic injunction, these 3 steps, warn, abstain from sexual intercourse, and then you can apply daraba, which we can explain later on, or I've already explained in a couple of videos of mine, which we don't, maybe I don't want to descope this discussion. Then you can do this, right? So someone might argue then, how comes it's not mentioned, this word is not mentioned in relation to women? I would say actually it is mentioned in relation to women, the same word. In chapter 4, I think verse 28, 126 or 128, it says, وإن امرأة خافت من بعلها نشوزا أو إعراضا فلا جناح عليهما أن يصلح بينهما صلحا وصلح خير. It says that if a woman fears from her husband nushuz or i'rad. I'rad means being neglected. So there's 2 things. Whereas in the verse in 434, there's only one thing that was mentioned, which was nushuz, which was rebellion. Here there are 2 things that are mentioned.
We're talking about the beating, and he go off on a different tantrum. But anyway, I want you guys to hear when he says, if the woman want to hurt the baby.
So I would say that if that is the case, then we've agreed already. And then say, why is that? Why have we agreed?
Right
so,
here.
Well,
That's it right there. So
absolutely no. Yeah. There is no case in which a man can touch a woman against her will. So, but then the woman will say, okay, well, but that's an exceptional circumstance. We say, all right. So you're saying in certain exceptional circumstances, husbands can touch a woman physically against her will. That's very interesting. Say if she's hitting him, she's attacking him in a violent way, which could cause harm. Because women, despite popular stereotypical understanding, might be weaker than men physically, but they're not completely incapable of hurting a man. So say, for example, she grabs a weapon or she physically tries to attack him. Is he allowed to defend himself and physically touch her against her will in that context? So let's say a fair-minded feminist will say, yeah, okay, he can do his.
And the verse is nothing about that. If you read the verse, he's talking about sexual rebelliousness. Let me go and show you that the verse is all about sexual. Nothing about a woman attacking no man. Men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend for maintenance from their wealth. So righteous women are devotedly obedient, guarding in the husband absence, that absence, what Allah would have them guard. So this is about sexuality. This is about sex. What are they guarding? What are they guarding? They're not being sexually promiscuous. That's what this is talking about. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance. So you fear that your wife would be out here doing certain things crazy. And then when you look at the hadith that I quote to Kenny Boomer, what did the man fear? The man feared that this woman wanted to go back to her ex-husband, and he started beating her. So you fear arrogance. You know, he says, first advise them. If they persist, forsake them in bed, all sexual, and finally strike them. Do you see? It have nothing to do with a woman attacking you. Nothing like that about a woman attacking you. Nothing like that when a woman attacking. That's not what it's about. But the donkey that Muhammad Hijab is will take it to another level.
As much as it needs, as he needs in order to get her off him. So I would say that if that is the case, then we've agreed already. And they'll say, why is that? Why have we agreed? So, well, the reason why we've agreed is actually because this verse is not telling a man how to beat up his wife. It's not. In fact, the Prophet explicitly told us in a hadith in Tirmidhi, لا تضربوا إماء الله. Do not hit the women's servants of Allah. Do not hit them. So if anyone says, okay, well, Islam's normative position is to go and hit the wives to discipline them or something, this is against the Quranic and Islamic or Hadith narrative. This verse is not telling a man how to hit or beat up his wife. This is telling how a man or a husband how to defend himself against his wife. Because the thing is, the nature of man is that a man is prone to, in a more biological, physically touch a woman against her will. Yeah, from women, because not because the women are worse than men or more
right here
the child or endangering the child's health.
Oh, right here you go.
That in all cases, a husband can never touch a woman against her will. In all cases, absolutely all cases.
Do you see how the donkey is crazy? It's not about touching a woman against her will. It's talking about rebellious woman, rebelling against you. And what do you do in a case of rebellion? Watch this.
She might say, yeah, I don't believe in any case it's justified for a woman to touch her husband against his will. A husband to touch her wife against her will in any physical way. So I'll say, okay, fine. What if she's killing the child or
Do you see how this guy is a donkey? What if she is killing the child? What did the Quran say? First admonish her, then stop sleeping with her. If she's killing the child, how does that apply to that kind of stuff? This guy is a total donkey, man. Like, you know, do you see? So at the end of the day, one of them have to say that it's self-defense, and the other one have to say, you beat her lightly. If the woman is killing the child, would you be what you would do? Take a pen and start eating her like this? Oh, let go the child, let go the child, let go the child. That's how you see it does not apply. This guy is a naive donkey, because that's what is left. When you have a so-called God that leave you in a predicament, like this God leave them into a predicament, then all is left is nonsense, to talk nonsense. You see what I'm saying? The God says you can beat your wife, but all this stuff, oh, if she's killing this, what if she's killing the child? You hear this donkey, man? Let's go back.
Woman to touch her husband against his will. A husband to touch her wife against her will in any physical way. So I'll say, okay, fine. What if she's killing the child or
Do you see? This is why I say Islam is a bunch of nonsense. They know exactly what the Quran says, but they must make up all kind of stupidity. What if she's killing the child? If a woman is killing a child, you're saving the child's life. So what about where is it? Admonish her and banish her to bed. You know what? Because of where this take, I think was a guy. This is how stupid this guy is, man. Abdullah Samir, I think his name is. I think his name is Abdullah Samir. I think. Man, this is all naive. So, okay, here is a video where Abdullah Samir is gonna reveal how stupid this guy is. So I'm gonna give you a video where Abdullah Samir is gonna reveal how stupid this guy is, man, because it literally their Quran leave them in a predicament, and they have to be stupid to try to defend this Quran. So you're gonna see.
Hi, I'm Abdullah Samir, and I'm going to be responding to Muhammad Hijab, the wife beating verse explained, where he justifies and explains why he thinks chapter 4, verse 34 of the Quran actually makes sense.
I mean, it's not an argument against the religion, because all we're doing is, from a philosophical perspective, we're using our socially constructed 21st century Western norms, and we're pitting them against the biblical, the Quranic, whatever narrative. And what that is, it actually constitutes a fallacy called the fallacy of presentism.
Mm-hmm.
The fallacy of presentism is using present ideas of the 21st century narrative to try and actually disprove other things which are moral based. Well, that's actually anachronistic. In other words, you're using a present idea to superimpose it on a, let's say, a previous society or whatever it is. Well, that doesn't show that your idea is true and their idea is false. It just shows that you have a value judgment, a subjective aesthetic value judgment, which happens to differ from that which existed beforehand.
But I thought the Quran is a document for all times that teaches us how to live our lives all the way from the 7th century until now. This is not the fallacy of presentism unless you're saying the Quran is...
Do you see? This is what they have to do. This is what they have to do. They have to water down. And that's why he said, go get our pamphlets and go get our stuff. This is the kind of stuff that they put in their pamphlet. This is the kind of stupidity thoughts that they have. Do you see that? The Quran is supposed to be the eternal word that guide Muslim. And then you hear this guy looking at the Quran and says the Quran was for the time. But then at the end of the day, what he says is totally different from what he's saying in the beginning. Because what? They're tossing up things. And any one of them you want to grab, you grab it. That's what they're doing. Tossing up things, and anyone you want to grab, you grab it. But if you notice, he got caught, because you will see it from the beginning. Like, if the Quran is eternal, how is it that you cannot judge it based on our time?
Only for the 7th century. And then in that case, I would agree. If you're saying the Quran is for the 7th century, then we can't argue against it in terms of today's values.
And Muhammad Hijab agree with what I say. Remember Sura, from the beginning of the Surah, where it says men are above women, are superior to women because of they spend their wealth on the woman. And what did I tell Kenny in the dialogue? That this God is a naive God who speak from the dark age of the 7th century. The reason is, look here today, in this condo apartment that I live in, majority of the owners here are women. Majority of the owners are women. There's a lot of women owners here. You see what I'm saying? So women are owning things. Women are having their things. Women are hard workers. So and make more money than a lot of men. So how does the Quran apply that men are above women because of what they earn and spend on the women? When a lot of times the women are spending more than the men. So Hijab is actually proving my case that the Quran is a stupid book.
But if you're saying it's a document for all times, then yes, definitely we can argue against it.
Anyway, I mean, a lot of these things are misconceptions. Like you were mentioning the verse in the Quran about beating and these things. And just to kind of quickly summarize this verse, it's really interesting because this verse starts off by saying, it's chapter 4, verse 34. It says, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ نُشُوزُهُنَّ فَعِذُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ.
And why does he think that you have to speak Arabic when he talking? He's on an English program, but he have to speak Arabic. Hypocritical, pretending as if he knows.
So وَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبَغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you fear their nushuz, i.e. your wives, nushuz is rebellion, and it can take different forms. Now, the first thing I would say to someone who's asking this question is as follows, really. I mean, I would say to someone, let's say, for example, who is...
What he says, rebellion can take different forms. So how is he saying that he's the man that defending himself? This is why this guy is a hypocrite. Because if rebellion can take different forms, and if you fear rebellion, you can beat your wife. You can do this, and then beat your wife. How is it that the wife is attacking you? You're defending yourself. This guy is a donkey.
I'm not going to say feminist, or someone who believes in women's rights. Anyone.
I'm not sure who these people are who you are saying who believe in women's rights. I thought all of us believe in women's rights. It sounds like
Do you see? That's the same thing I was saying. Like you keep talking about feminist. If you look up the word feminist, let me see. I think that people forget what the word feminist mean. I don't think they actually realize that the word feminist, a person who supports feminism, relating to supporting feminism. So if you look at the word feminism now, that's all you got to do, look at the word feminism, and you will see what feminism means. Definition: an advocacy for a woman's right. Do you see? It's stupid, like to be. And you look at this, what we have got equal rights of women in. That's what me and the Texas Abdul was debating. And look at this brother, a person who support women's right. Everybody should be supporting women's right, and every man should be a feminist. Every man should be a feminist. A feminist is not a bad word. The advocacy of women's right and the basis of equality of sex. That's what feminism means. Wow. Hijab is jabbing what's the name in the teeth. Hijab just jabbed Kenny Boomer at the Texas Abdul in his teeth. So the Britain Abdul jabbed the Texas Abdul in his teeth, man. Do you see that? Just listen to them and you realize that women are secondary to them. The way they talk, but they're undercovering it. And Abdullah Samir, pick it up real easy, because I know the word feminist mean it's not a bad word, it's a good word. All men should be feminists. All men should be a feminist. Support women's right. All men should that, and rights of sexes.
he's implying that it's only feminists that believe in women's rights. Notice how he keeps mentioning the word feminist. This is not the case. All of us believe in women's rights.
Yes, but he don't. He don't, because look, at first he justify, just like the Abdul from Texas, behaving just like the Abdul from Texas, because he justify what he did. He justify the beating of women by saying it was something from the 7th century, and you can't judge pertaining things from the 7th century with today's parlance. But at the end of the day, the Quran is supposed to be the eternal word of Allah that govern the people from until the day of resurrection. and maybe beyond resurrection, who knows what I know, until the so-called day of resurrection. But what people like that Abdul do, they toss up two things and you grab which one you want. It's like when we were young kids, we used to go to the mango field, and then we would get sticks and we throw the stick up because the mango is way up in the tree, and you throw the stick up and it eat the bunch, not the mango, but it eat the branch where the mango is on, and there might be two ripe mango on the branch, and there one might be better than the other, and you have to know which one, when it's coming down, which one is the better one, so you end up getting the better one. Or if somebody catch it, you catch it before it touches the ground. And what he's doing, tossing up something, and anybody listen to him would catch one. Oh, you can't judge ancient parlance using modern parlance. And that's not what's going on there. And now what he decided to do is switch it up. He's going to switch it up to something different. So he looking at feminism as if it's a bad thing, and feminists as if it's a bad thing.
In children's rights, in humans' rights, it's the right to determinism, the right to freedom, the right to not be discriminated against,
the right to not be beaten. The right to not be beaten, whether it is beaten lightly or not any beaten at all. Kenny Bomer, you donkeyish. The right to not be beaten. A woman have the right to not be beaten, whether it is beaten lightly as your stupid pamphlets and your crazy scholars twist the Quran to say lightly, whether it is lightly or it is beaten hard. Women have the right not to be beaten. Yes. And women have the right to put to not sleep with their man, according to your prophet. Angels mock them until angel curse them until daybreak.
The right to live your life, the right to not be beaten or abused.
Right? Say to them, do you believe that in all cases, a husband can never touch a woman against her will? In all cases, absolutely all cases. She might say, yeah, I don't believe in any case it's justified for a woman to touch her husband against his will. A husband to touch her wife against her will in any physical way. So I say, okay, fine. What if she is what if she's killing the child or endangering the child's health in a dramatic way? And by the way, this is not an anomalous example, because if you find the NSPCC, which is a British charity which deals with children's health and things like that, they actually reported that the majority of fatalities or deaths of children are from women, not because the women are worse than men or more evil than men, or as the Bible indicates in Genesis, but it's actually because women have more interaction time with their children, generally speaking, as mothers.
And do you notice what the donkey says? That women, the Bible says women are more evil than men, and he can't show that. What book in Genesis? Stupid lying donkey. What book in Genesis say women are more evil than men? Your prophet said women are more evil than men. Your prophet says that. It's a more. He look into hell, and the more women are in hell. Let's find it. Let's find it. This Abdul is galloping and talking all kind of nonsense. So let's find the hadith. Let's find the hadith, because this is Muhammad speaking. I was shown hell, and I saw that most of its inhabitants were ungrateful women. The prophet was asked, were they ungrateful to Allah? He replied, they were ungrateful to their husbands for the favors and the good done to them. Wow. Do you see that? Oh man. So you see, he attacking the Bible about in the book of Genesis. Show we in the book of Genesis where he say anything about women that women are more sinful, and that is Sahih al-Bukhari number 29. So you see that. So you see, every time he speak, it does reveal how stupid Islam is.
Mothers have more interaction time with their children. So this is actually a real case study. If we see a mother, because we're here looking at the philosophical or epistemological roots, if you see a mother, if a husband sees his wife abusing the child, is he allowed to intervene and physically touch a woman against her will? Yeah, the feminists will turn around and say, yeah, probably. We're not objecting to that. Say, fine. So now we have to understand that we've broken the original thing that we've said, because the original...
Do you see how crazy he is, man? He broke the original thing that he said. You intervene with a woman abusing your child, whether the mother or father, whether the mother, auntie, grandma, teacher, whatever, a woman abusing any child at all, and you intervene. It's the same as beating your wife if you fear rebellious. If you fear that she's gonna be rebellious, if you fear rebellion, beat her. You admonish her, then she persists. You stop sleeping with her, then beat her. That's the same as a woman abusing a child.
Originally, we said that absolutely no, there is no case in which a man can touch a woman against her will. So, but then the woman will say, okay, well, but that's an exceptional circumstance. We say, all right. So you're saying in certain exceptional circumstances, husbands can touch a woman physically against her will.
And that's the same way in any circumstances. Anybody can touch anybody under certain circumstances. Do you see how stupid this guy is, man? He drink too much camel urine, man. In any situation, a man or a woman can touch anybody. A child, anybody can touch anybody under certain situation. And it's legal and it's right. I was watching a video last night where a guy arrested a drunk driver. You know, on a normal situation, he can't touch the man if the man didn't do nothing wrong. But he arrested him because he was swaying all over the street. When he parked the car, he arrested him. And he wasn't a police officer, he's just a regular citizen, arrest him. But could he just go you just go up to a person for no reason and just grab them like and drag him out of the car like how he dragged that man out of the car? No, he could do that. You know? So this guy doesn't make any sense at all.
That's very interesting. Say if she's hitting him, she's attacking him in a violent way, which could cause harm, because women, despite popular stereotypical...
The Quran said nothing about no eating nobody. The Quran said if you suspect arrogance, you suspect arrogance. Oh my God. The Quran said nothing about eating nobody. It said if you suspect arrogance. This is how crazy the Quran is. If you suspect arrogance, you could beat your wife if you suspect arrogance, and they persist with their arrogance. They have nothing to do with a woman attacking you or doing anything like that. And then if you notice it, none of the sources that Mr. Kenny Bomer, the Texas Abdul quoted, have nothing to do with the woman attacking the man. Nothing like that. That's how nonsensical Islam is. Islam allow these people to be just making up their own scenarios. Because what? Clear and claim. Plain and clear, you have authority over the woman. Because you are superior to her because of what you give to her. That's one sense. because you give her your wealth. You take care of her with your wealth. If you suspect her being arrogant, rebellious against you, you can do this and you can do this. Have nothing to do with what this Abdul is saying.
Understanding might be weaker than men physically, but they're not completely incapable of hurting a man. So, say for example, she grabs a weapon or she physically tries to attack him. Is he allowed to defend himself and physically touch her against her will in that context? So, let's say a fair-minded feminist will say, yeah, okay, he can do as much as it needs as he needs in order to get her off him.
Oh,
so I would say that if that is the case.
So in Kenny's a woman attacking you, and to get her off, you're gonna get a piece of stick. You're gonna get a piece of a tooth stick, and you're gonna tap her lightly. That's how you're gonna get her off. This is how donkeys these guys are, man. The Quran says you can beat your wife, and it gives under what situation you can beat your wife. But these guys must twist and turn and twist and turn and make it appear like, oh, is the woman is the aggressor, and that's the reason you can beat your wife. But no, that's not the reason. The woman is rebellious. A rebellion can, and even him admitted that a rebellion can be anything. A rebellion can be anything. A rebellion can be the fact that the woman don't want to cook for you. You say cook, and the woman said no. A rebellion can be the woman don't want to clean for you. A rebellion can be the woman don't want to go nowhere with you. A rebellion can be you want the woman to do things that the woman don't want to do. That's what rebellion is. A rebellion have nothing to do with fighting you. You don't have to have nothing to do with fighting you. And arrogance, translation say arrogance. Arrogance don't have nothing to do with a woman attacking you, or a woman attacking the baby, or whatever.
Then we've agreed already.
This is a bad example. When it comes to preserving the moral sphere, sometimes we do need to jump in and we do need to take action. However, when it comes to the Quran is saying a man can beat his wife if he fears nushuz from her. But she's not harming anyone by doing nushuz. She doesn't. Why does she need to be beaten?
Yes. Yes. See? Do you see? And that's why the Texas Abdul, and when I say Islam in America is deception, it is totally deception. It's totally deception. Because they try to sell you something to conform to societal norm, that a woman should not be beaten. So they try to sell you that stuff. And notice he come pamphlet, go to the mosque and do this and do this and do this and do that. No. People like Muhammad Hijab is in the mosque who twist things, and you will see how obvious that he's twisting things. The Quran doesn't say that. He said, but those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them. Then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. He don't say nothing about no woman attacking you.
How does this justify, just for rebellion, beating your wife?
Do you see? I don't care. You can sell Muslims these things, and these are the things that you realize that they have to make up all kind of stuff to and they have to discipline her gently. When you word say discipline her gently, a discipline doesn't have to mean beat, because disciplining a person gently, you could say, hey, go to your room. Like a kid, you could say, go to your room. Or you could say, turn the TV off and go to bed. Because they did something and you're disciplining them. And that's gentle discipline. Turn the TV off, go to bed. Or you say, don't come downstairs until dinner time. That's gently disciplining somebody. But that's not what the Quran says. And that's why you know that Kenny Bomer is deceptive. Let's run to the clear Quran where I could read where it says discipline gently, but that's not what the Arabic says. That's what the Arabic says. And Muhammad Hijab know a little Arabic, and if you notice, he's not denying that he said beat. But Kenny want to say he mean discipline them gently. Then he gonna take up a tick and said, oh, with this, because the scholar says with this. Who give a crap what the scholar says? We are talking about what the Quran says.
This is not a good analogy at all. She's not endangering your life. She's not hurting you. She's not threatening you in any way. You simply fear nushuz and you beat her.
Yeah, that's what it says. If you fear rebellion, or if you fear arrogance, that's what it says. So at the end of the day, you will see that Kenny Bomer, the Texas Abdul, is just a senseless. And this is the deception they come here in the West and want to sell you. This is the deception that they want to sell you. The obvious deception that they want to sell you. This is the deception. So I won't even listen too much to Kenny Bomer and his ranting, you know, because what you look at, you know, when you go to Kenny Bomer, you will see most of what he say is just to save face, attack and a personal attack and saving face. That's all he doing. Personal attack your intelligence, save face. You know, right from the get-go, that's what he's doing. Because he know what his plan is. He have no intelligence and no evidence to defend Islam. So what he's gonna come with is personal attack.
In the Muslim world, what we're being taught is that Muslim.
You know, he said in the Muslim world, what we're being taught. The thing about it is what you've been taught and what the Quran say is different. That's my thing. What you've been taught and what the Quran say is different, and a man don't have to follow what he's been taught if the Quran says something. Like you notice, Kenny say in the Muslim world. Notice what the donkey say in the Muslim world, and what you will find, you know. And when I say donkey, I mean is foolish. And what you will find in the Muslim world, when someone follow the Quran and kill somebody who they claim is their enemies, they say it's not the Quran. But if you notice what the Quran say, he says fight until there is no fitna. And guess what they translate fitna to mean? Oppression. But why we know that it's not oppression is because what the other part of the verse says. Until all religion belongs to Allah. All of it. Till all the religion belong to Allah. Oppression, the stop of oppression does not mean that all religion will belong to Allah. So when you look at how other people translate it, it's a fight until there is no more disbelief. No more opposition, no more disbelief. Because the opposite of disbelief is all religion belong to Allah. That's wisdom of thinking. When they come and they tell you, oh, fight until there is no more oppression, until all religion belong to Allah. Oppression, the stop of oppression does not mean that all religion will belong to Allah. It don't. You could live in a community where no one is oppressing you, but yet all religion does not belong to Allah. And as I show you, you know, so when he say what the Muslim been taught, where? We see in Saudi Arabia, we see in Europe, in many European places where videos have been leaking from mosques, where people are teaching people jihad to rebel and to fight and to do this and to attack people. Children have been taught to hate Western people. So when you say we have been taught, we who? You speaking as if Muslims are monolithic. They are not. They're not. Some Muslims follow only the Quran. Only the Quran. Only the Quran. If the Quran said beat your wife, that's what they're going to do. They're Quran only Muslims that follow only the Quran. So all this nonsense that you're talking, they don't follow no scholars, they don't follow none of this stuff. They follow only the Quran. So you go, this is what Muslim being taught. This is what this being taught. I don't care what you've been taught. Because at the end of the day, what you've been taught and what the Quran says is not the same. And many people will follow the Quran even though they've been taught something different. Because the Quran is the so-called word of the God. And what they've been taught is not the word of the God. So they have to listen to that. You see, this Abdul is an idiot, man.
Muslim men cannot do an injustice against Muslim women, nor can Muslim women do an injustice against Muslim men.
Muslim men can do injustice. If you can beat a woman, that's not injustice according to Islam, but injustice according to this world. Injustice according to the people who Muhammad Hijab is calling feminists.
That they are protectors and they are a garment for one another.
Oh, not because you're a garment for one another. That doesn't mean that you don't treat. There's some people don't wash their garment and they treat them. Muhammad was walking around with semen on his garment. He was walking around with semen on his garment. So you could treat your garment like nothing. You know, some people treat their garment good, while other people treat their garment shabby. Some people got cigarette burns on their garment. Some people got all kind of stuff on their garment. So that doesn't even make no sense. You know, I could be a clean garment for you while you be a dirty garment for me. It doesn't make no sense. Doesn't make no sense. You know, the same way you beat leather and tan leather, beat it and do all kind of stuff to make garment. And so you in order to get the garment the way you want it, you put the work into it. And according to the Quran, you can beat the woman and to make her the right garment you want. You mold her into the garment you want. See, this guy don't make no sense.
Protecting one another against the ills of society.
Protecting one another. How do you protect her? By beating her. Do you not see that? The woman, the same verse say the man is the protector of and you can beat. You could beat. You could beat her. You could beat her. I think it's a 33. Verse 33. So you could beat her. So how you protect her? Why do you think Allah tell to beat? Because he's thinking that's the way you protect her from the elements out here. She's arrogant. Beat her, protect her from the elements. Do you see this guy don't make no sense, man?
And if they're protecting one another against the ills of society, surely you don't put on a jacket, Olga Yates.
Look how stupid this guy is. When parents beat their kids, what are they doing? Do you see that guy is a dumb guy? This guy here need a brain transplant. When parents beat their kids, what are they saying that they're doing? Protecting them from the elements. A garment, Olga Yates. Before you put on a garment, you cut it and do whatever you want to do with it. That's how you make garment. You cut it and mold it. Notice the woman is banished to the bed by herself. She's not a garment for you at the time. So you put the garment until she come back in line and be a garment. So stop talking nonsense, Abdul. See, this guy don't speak with no sense, man. You know, don't speak with no sense. You don't do this, Olga Yates. You don't do this, Olga Yates. But the Quran is telling you to beat your woman, to beat her into submission, beat her to submit to you. And when she submits to you, that's how she's your protector. If she's not submitted to you, how is she your protector? If the woman is arrogant and rebellious, how is she your protector? That's why you started muting me. Because you realized this wasn't going good for you. You're an idiot.
That you're going to go and protect you from the rain and the cold and so forth, but put a bunch of rips in it and destroy it.
Rips? Who tell you anything about no rips? Nobody say nothing about no rips. Talking about beat your woman. Who talking about no rips? And how is a woman not going to protect you when you beat her? Do you see how foolish this guy is? Do you see how foolish? You cannot equate a woman with a coat. You cannot equate a woman with a coat, a ribs in a coat, and the bruises and stuff you put on a woman. You cannot equate that. Because what? You beat a woman to fear you to the point where she'll do anything for you. You can a coat having a hole in it is totally different. That even make no sense. This guy don't even he don't realize all his analogies that he gave during the debate, just pure senseless analogies.
It when it's supposed to be the very thing that's protecting you from the the ills of society or the.
Do you see how stupid that guy is? Do you see that stupid that guy is? My dad whooped my butt, but that when I protect my dad from the ills of society, hell yes. And it wasn't my dad protecting me from the ills of society, hell yes. So you see, this guy doesn't have any sense. This guy is naive, and he wants his naive behavior to rub off on other people. He working for his naive behavior to rub off on other people. That's what he's trying to do, to rub his naive behavior on people. Everything this guy say, nothing makes sense.
The climate and so forth. So what you need to do is you need to slow down.
Do you hear this donkey telling me to slow down? This galloping donkey telling me to slow down. Do you see? This is why I can't have no respect for this dude. I cannot have no respect for this dude. Do you see? The Quran says beat your woman, and the Quran says, oh, the woman is your garment. He don't stop you from being your garment. He don't stop you from being your garment. You know, people have these let's lose this stupid analogy. People have this big overcoat that they used to have in the days, and they would hang it up because they don't want to wash it, but they want to get the dust out of it. They hang that stuff up and use thing and beat it and beat the dust out of it. If that's the stupid analogy you want to use, because you want to use a literal quote, like, oh, the Quran say, oh, it's a literal quote. No, it's not a literal quote. You beat people into submission and you get them to do what you want. You get them to do what you want because they fear you. That's the kind of stuff that the Quran was telling you to do.
From the Islamophobic bantering and try to use a little bit of logic and reason.
Look at this idiot talking about logic and reasoning. Do you see this? Trying to put people down, talking about logic and reasoning. What a dumb donkey this guy is. Logic and reasoning will show you that you cannot equate a woman to a coat in the sense that you are equating the woman to a coat. And even in the sense that you are equating the woman to a coat, yes, you can beat your coat. You can beat your covering, you can beat your coat. People used to put their stuff on a wire and they beat that stuff. Beat that stuff. Beat that stuff. You know, so at the end of the day, your analogy doesn't make, and then you go off to some stupid analogy about paint blue and all this stupidness. This thinking that he has more sense than people. This guy is a dumb donkey, man.
How can a man justify being the protector of his wife, and Allah's telling the men in the very verse that you mentioned that the men are the protectors of.
Do you see how stupid this guy is? My father was my protector, but he whooped my butt. Do you see this guy doesn't have any sense, man? My father was my protector. That doesn't mean that because you're a protector of a person, you cannot whoop their butt. A lot of people get their butt whooped. A lot of people get their butt whooped. Back in the days, students in school could get their butt whooped from the principal. In my country, I don't know about over here, but I'm sure over here they used to whoop people's butt at one point too. But they were protectors, weren't they? Yes, they were protected. So you see, this guy is a donkey. And to say he was in rap music. Can you imagine this guy saying that he was in rap music? Rap music is ground level music. He don't realize that. Rap music is not no uppity in my big house music. Rap music is street music, so you should be street smarter. But let the guy who used to do reggae music teach you. Like you're an idiot, an idiot and a high caliber too, like a high level idiot. Because not because parents are protectors and parents beat their children. Parents beat their children. A lot of parents beat their children and they are protected. So not because you are protected, that doesn't mean that you can beat your wife. According to the Quran said to beat her. You could quote around the bushes and do all the nonsense you want to do and gallop as much as you want to gallop. You can't save face. You're only trying to save face, but you can't save it.
To the women are so honored that they don't even have to work.
Oh, wow. The women are so honored that they don't have to work. That's that backward society. You're so honored that you don't have to work. Wow. Don't even make no sense. Don't even make, not because I was a child that didn't have to work and I got my butt whooped. Do you see? Don't even make no sense, man. The ranting, bantering, donkeying around. Like, what are this donkeying behavior for? Talking nonsense, making no sense at all. Not 1 ounce of sense. But believe that he making more sense than I do. This guy's a donkey. As a Christian priest call him a donkey, man. And he's a real donkey, man. Total donkey.
They work if they want to, and it's their right to do so.
They work if they want to, and it's their right to do so. I work because I want to, and it's my right to do so. So what? Because a woman work if they want to, and their right to do so. I give you the right to beat them if they're rebellious. This guy made no sense, man.
They're allowed to gain their education if they want to.
They are allowed. Allowed by who? I'm allowed to get my who allow me to get my education. I do what I want to do. So who allow me to get my education? So who's allowing the woman? Do you see? He's biting his own tongue. You know, I go and get my education. I'm not allowed by nobody. I just do it. So who allowed the women to get their education? Wow.
So you said your wife is a nurse. Well, guess what, Sister Katerina?
Do you see the craziness? Who cares? Do you see how crazy this guy is? I work with I'm the one here defending women, the Muslim women. You don't realize that. I'm the one here defending Muslim women. I'm the one showing him that there's Muslim women who making a lot of money more than some of their men. Not all their men. There's a lot of Muslim men who have money and have very high-paying job. But there's a lot of Muslim women who make more money than their men. But according to the stupid Quran, it says one of the reasons the man is above the woman is because the man make more money and take care of the woman with his money. The same verse that says to beat a woman, the justification of beating the woman is because the man take care of the woman with his wealth. What about the woman who has the ability to make the most money in the house? Do you see? Ranting, all this stuff, what is it? Bantering. This is what you call bantering because he's not making any sense.
An affiliate of this, and one of the hosts of this, consider this TV.
Who care about that? Consider this TV is nothing. So one of the hosts of Consider This TV. What is it? He act like she worked for CNN. What all this jabbering about? Who care about that kind of stuff? My thing is the stupidity of the Quran telling men to beat women, and one of the reasons the man is above the woman is that the man spend his riches on the woman. Surah 4, verse 34, the first portion of the verse says, Allah make the man above the I'm paraphrasing, above the woman because of two reasons. Because of the quality that Allah give one above the other, and because the man spend his wealth on the woman. But I'm saying there are many women out here in today's society. That's why Islam was made for a backward society. And do you notice when he says they don't even have to work? They don't even have to work. You don't realize that, that's not a good thing. When he said they don't really have to work. Wow. You know, so, and you know, Muhammad used to tell them, say in the Quran, he says, your woman is your farmland. I'm paraphrasing, but tillage means farmland. Your woman is your farmland, so plow her from behind. Approach her from sideways, backward, every ways that you can approach her. You know, a woman is likened to a farmland. The way Muhammad demean women, he says, if you are praying, two or three things, I think he said 3 things nullify a prayer: a dog, a donkey, and a woman. So if a woman walk before you while you're praying, the prayer is nullified. Wow. Wow. Dog, a donkey, and a woman. Do you see this guy don't know what he's talking about?
Network. She is a Muslim woman. She's married to a man from over that was.
Who cares about these things this Abdul talking about, man? He everything that's flying out over this Abdul's head. Everything I say fly over his head. Everything I say flies over his head. And where we know that it flies over his head, this is the West. I'm telling him, this is American law. A lot of Muslim women who are not being beaten in here, I'm sure it's because they're living in America. And a lot of them, I believe, is being beaten secretly. I do, because the Quran is telling these men that they can beat their wife. And according to them, the Quran is God's word. You could beat your wife.
Originally from overseas, and she is a nurse just like you are, Olga Yates. She's a Muslim woman.
Who cares? We're not talking about a Muslim woman being a nurse. I know many Muslim women who being a nurse. Actually, my first conversation with this guy, telling him about a Muslim woman who is a nurse. In that first conversation, my first within my first 3 minutes, I told him about a Muslim woman. I don't think the minutes had already started. I don't even think so. I told him about a Muslim woman who is a nurse. So it's not, I am not saying that there's not Muslim woman who is a nurse. I'm talking about beating, equality, Abdul. Can the woman beat you? No. There is no Quran verse that says a woman can beat you. So why is there a Quran verse that's saying that you can beat your wife?
There's many Muslim women, doctors, lawyers, politicians, Ilhan Omar, and so forth in the American government. These are women that are highly educated and respected, and the Muslim women.
Oh boy, this guy is something, man.
Men are right there supporting them, just as the women are.
Look, what did Muhammad say? What did Muhammad say, man? What did Muhammad say? Muhammad said, any country that run by a woman shall not succeed. That's what Muhammad said. So when we see women becoming politicians, I'm glad to see that, to show Muhammad that he's an idiot. I'm happy to see women becoming successful politicians. You know, no, I never say a woman cannot be a politician and can be successful. And the man behind them, so the man can't stop them here. A man can't stop a woman from doing what she want to do here, unless she's already controlled by him. That's what this Abdul don't know. So a lot of women that you see be somebody here, you don't know. A lot of them don't know how we come about. You know, you don't know how it come about and what these people go to be where they are. So to say, oh, the man behind them supporting them, Oh, who knows the man behind him support him? She run from her husband to another man. You don't know what goes on in their lifestyle. You don't know. You have no idea what goes on there, Kenny Bomer. You're just talking nonsense. The man behind them supporting them. You don't know what goes on. She's not with her husband that she started out with. You don't know.
Supposed to be supporting their men, just like a garment of protection that Allah mentions.
A garment, as I say, a garment of protection. People, I've seen people beat their overcoat to get dust out of it. So I don't know why you're still repeating the garment of protection. You have nothing in the Quran that says that you cannot beat your wife. So at the end of the day, you're talking nonsense.
This is as an example to man and women, that your garments protecting one another. And again, Olga Yates, have you ever put on a jacket, but before you went outside to protect you from the rain or the cold, you put a bunch of rips?
You've been talking for about 6 minutes now.
Of course.
Do you see that? Still talking.
You didn't.
You've been talking
of
for
course
about
you
6
didn't.
minutes.
So let's get back to your Islamophobic bantering. Basically,
do you see what he called bantering? Nothing he say make no sense, but what I say is bantering. Do you see? An Islamophobic. As I say, that's Kenny Boomer's favorite word, and that word is supposed to make what you say, nullify what you say. He believes that when he uses that word, it will nullify the truth that you speak. But you don't realize that, no, it actually make him look like an idiot. That's what it does.
Amounts to nothing on the scales of logic and reason. Go ahead.
On the scale of logic and reason, he says, you cannot beat tear up a coat and stuff. Nobody talking about tearing up, but you can beat a coat. You put the coat up there and beat the dust out of it before you wear it. And that's what you do to your, the Quran said to do. So beat the bad habit out of the woman, and then you get her in line to where she fits you properly. That's what the Quran says. You know, what you're doing right now, you're actually showing me that your Quran is nothing on the scale of logic and reasoning. Because I'm quoting from your Quran, where say your Quran says you can beat women. And I'm also showing you that in 33:21, your Quran, not my bantering, says that your prophet is the perfect example to follow. And according to Aisha, the baby wife of your prophet, Aisha told us that your prophet sit back and watch a man get away. And right here is where, because I mentioned baby wife, and I'm glad that I got here. You know, I think I stopped. You know, I've gone through some of this stuff, but he's gonna put me and pause and start bantering and ranting. But you know, right here is where I'm gonna show Kenny Boomer disgust for his prophet action. So this is right where I'm gonna show Kenny Boomer's disgust for his own prophet. So let's get into it. Remember, I mentioned the word baby wife, and he get offended by baby wife. So let's listen to Kenny Boomer himself talking about baby wife. So here is Kenny Boomer.
Or that Muslim men they've got their eyes open for little 9-year-old girls that you seem to be so convinced about. We're at all the little 9-year-old girls. I don't know about you, Connie, but let's be honest with it. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I've seen women that are far more attractive than 9-year-old girls.
Ooh. Kenny says he have seen women who are far more attractive than 9-year-old girl, but Muhammad married to a 9-year-old girl. So when I say baby wife, do you know? Do you notice what the donkey do? He put me he put me back stage when I mentioned the word baby wife. What he did? You're disrespecting Muhammad, but listen how he disrespect Muhammad. He said, I see far more attractive women than 9-year-old. But Muhammad was attracted to a 9-year-old to the point where he had sex with a 9-year-old. So, you know, just for this. You see that? He condemn his prophet, but he get mad at you when you say baby wife, because a 9-year-old is a baby. And the funny thing about it, that's when Muhammad have sex with her. That's when Muhammad have sex with her. He did not have sex with her. He didn't marry to her at 9. He married to her at 6 years old. So when he said baby wife, I'm right to say baby wife. He get offended about that. And you're going to hear him ranting off like a donkey because he get offended about that and telling you, oh, you're disrespectful and you're this and this and that. So listen, narrated Aisha, the prophet married her when she was 6 years old and consummated, having mean have sex, his marriage when she was 9 years old. And that is Sahih al-Bukhari 5134, book 6, hadith 70. So you see, what you're going to see now, right here, you know, we're going to go back here and listen to Kenny Bomer condemn is pedophile. But then, at the same time, he wanna, I'm not a Muslim, but he's saying that he's a better woman looking than 9-year-old. But I'm not a Muslim, but he's making that statement. But guess what? Then he gonna get mad at me from say the baby wife. when the child was a baby, 6-year-old, you're married to a 6-year-old, he's a baby. So listen to this, Mr. Nonsense.
But let's be honest with it. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I've seen women that are far more attractive than 9-year-old girls. They're far more developed, and I don't mean to be,
wow, far more developed, far more attractive. But your prophet have sex with a 9-year-old.
Trying to put these in perspective, right?
So what 9-year-old is not a fully developed girl? What? 9-year-old is not a fully developed girl?
A 9-year-old girl, okay, versus a woman.
A 9-year-old girl versus a woman. Do you see? And when I say a baby wife, because I'm talking about 6-year-old. So he's calling her a 9-year-old girl, but I'm reflecting at the age when Muhammad married to her when she was a baby. So I'm saying baby wife. But this donkey don't realize that he's galloping over his prophet. But here he is, ready to mute you and to talk all kind of nonsense. Ready to mute you and say you're disrespecting Muhammad. And this is a big disrespect. Because what? Listen to him.
You saved me, lifting me with
the apostle, peace be upon him, married me when I was 6-year-old and was admitted to his house when I was 9. And according to the other hadith, he consummated the marriage when she was 9-year-old. He have sex with her when he take her to his house. He have sex with her.
mighty hands. It's easy to forget why is
that the prophet married her when she was 6-year-old, consummated the marriage when she was 9-year-old. So have sex with her when she was 9-year-old. And so when you look at it, you get mad at me for calling a 6-year-old baby, and she was married, so the baby wife. There's no disrespect in that. It's truth. So this is what this idiot called Islamophobia. Speaking the truth. Speaking the truth is what he called Islamophobia. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna go off on me, or I'm disrespectful and I'm this. But listen to what you say. You say that you see far better woman or whatever than the baby wife your prophet married to. So let's.
10-year-old girls. I don't know about you, Connie, but let's be honest with it. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I've seen women that are far more attractive than 9-year-old girls. They're far more developed, and I don't mean to be, I'm just trying to put these in perspective, right?
And how old was Muhammad? Muhammad was older than you, and he was like 54 years old when he had sex with the 9-year-old girl. So here you go. Here you go. Condemning me, talking so bad about me, and want to put me at backstage and muting me when you share the same view that I share. Look, we got to give Kenny Boomer what he deserves, man. This is a show where we give people what they deserve. So let's give Kenny Boomer what he deserves. And I'm going to end the show soon because I always make my shows too long. So give Kenny Boomer what he deserves now. On this show, we give people what they deserve. The way you behave is the way you get it on the show. You can't behave. Just the way you behave is the way you get it. Man, do you see how you're gonna see how his behavior becomes so violent? Like if I was there, he would have beat me up. But guess what? He shared the same belief that I share, that Muhammad was a nasty bandit. Muhammad was a the only thing is he can't see what he's blind to the fact that he can't see. He can see that me and him, we share the same idea. He can't see.
What I did, I just put you on pause, just your time. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Okay? For one, what you're not going to do here, Olga Yates, because I'm not disrespecting Jesus, peace be upon him.
But you're disrespecting Muhammad. So what I'm going to say right here, I'm going to say, peace out, man. The Texas Abdul, something is wrong with the Texas Abdul. Oh boy. The Texas Abdul condemn his prophet, but hate me for doing the same. The only thing I did was call it like I see it, baby wife, while he say he's not attracted to a baby girl. This is the nonsense. So I will say peace out. God bless you, man. I'm out of here. All praises to the triune God, the God above all gods. Oh God will give us wisdom to identify these foolishness of these Abduls. So I want to say peace out. And I'm going to leave the Kenny Boomer craziness for a minute and go back to, doing more positive things, because Kenny has lost a screw. We could see that. You see where he condemned Muhammad, and then when I condemn Muhammad, it's a madness for him. So I said, peace out and God bless you, man.